we feel that the Minister for Foreign Affairs should have taken it up very quickly.
The rail transportation sector has witnessed remarkable transformation. The Kenya-Uganda Standard Gauge Railway Agreement, signed in March 2025, commits both nations to completing the Nairobi-Kampala link by 2028, cutting travel time from 14 hours to 4 hours and freight costs by 35%. In fact, on 20th this month,
50% of our police stations don't have any form of transport. And that is an impediment, actually, in the provision of services. So we would request this committee to support us in that direction so that as many police stations as possible can actually be afforded a transport.
We're dealing with a physical environment where there is a confluence of a lot of physical activities. You know, there is storm, there is transport issues, there is a lot of population influx into the space, same territory. So between 1954, maybe a population of 50,000 people, right. 60,000, maybe 100,000, 1954, to 5 million people today. So you find yourself with a lot of people in that same small territory. Yeah. And this territory, for very many years, has been described as a fragile ecosystem. You know, it's a basin. One side, it's hilly on the Ngong side. But on the Machakos side, you know, Eastland, it's a floodplain. So, yes. I mean,
floodplain.
It is flood.
Okay.
Plain, okay? So, there is inbuilt vulnerability in that system.
I leave a final message as a chairman, especially to our country, to the political class. As a nation, we must safeguard the credibility of our markets. The progress we have made should not be taken for granted. It has taken many years of discipline, sound policy, and trust building. The political class should not politicize this market. Analysis is correct, it is right to analyze, and it is right to share opinion. But it should not be done in a way that compromises investor confidence. We must decouple politics from our markets. Kenya's capital markets have the potential to unlock immense value to our citizens, attract regional and global investment, and position Nairobi as a financial hub for both East Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Patricia Wayua, and this is Generation Report, your weekly news roundup show on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
Yes, good evening and welcome to the Generation Report show that starts right now from 7 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. right here on Radio Generation, the home of hard truths and bold insights. Remember, if you're in Nairobi, your frequency it is on 88.8. That is on your FM. If you're all the way in Mombasa, it is 90.7. Those people who are tuned all the way from Garissa and its environs, it is on 89.5. We are also live on our social media platforms. Yeah, today I am joined by Winnie. She's going to tell us our social media platforms as we continue.
Our social media, wow. Our social handles are on Instagram, Radio Generation KE, YouTube Radio Generation, Facebook Radio Generation.
Yes, and you're also able to follow us also on our digital platform, that is rgk.co.ke. Remember, this radio station is audio-visual. You are able actually to follow every conversation. You are able to see what our guests are saying right here in the studio. You are able to see us as we converse in this important show. So welcome, and I hope you had a great week just like ours right here. So today being the last Friday of the Ramadan. Unajua it just started the other day.
Yes.
I never knew kwamba itakuja kuisha haraka hivi.
Actually, it was yesterday. Yesterday was the last Friday of Ramadan.
Oh yes, yesterday. Sorry.
Yes. Hii ndio ilikuwa Friday ya mwisho Ramadan. So next week on Friday, it's officially they're celebrating Eid al-Fitr.
The last Juma.
The last Juma. And I feel like, of course, the days zimeenda mbio tena sana. And the fact that this being considered their holy month, it's the holy month for the Muslim fraternity.
Yes.
And I feel like in as much as it's the holy month for them, by the end of the day, we will be celebrating, of course, with them next week. And considering the yesterday being the last Friday of Ramadan, and the fact that the president of Kenya, that's President William Ruto, hosted an iftar dinner in Mombasa. And I feel like it
I was invited. It's only that I didn't attend.
I apologize.
Yeah,
I apologize, but I feel like it's a very important, the fact that the president acknowledges such important calendar times for the Muslim fraternity, and the fact that they came together, dined together. It shows unity, peace among us, as I mean, each and everyone.
Well, I remember actually the Ramadan of this year was quite unique, because you remember it started together with the one for the Catholics.
For the Ash Wednesday, the Lent period.
Yes.
Okay.
So I even think they are not even done. Because they are saying they are also waiting for their time now. They can be able to break. Wale wanakula nyama waendelee kukula nyama, because so it has been a period of a lot of prayers. A lot of good works. Although good works by they should just be something, it should be your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Lives, even prayers by they should be something that is should be part of you. But again, this is quite different, because it is a time when they start much supplication. There is a lot of good deeds. There is a lot you draw nigher to God more than any other time. And again, also fasting is also important.
Very, absolutely, I agree with you.
Even if you're not doing it spiritually,
you can do it out of your own good. Actually, it's good for your body. There's something called intermittent fasting.
Lots of benefits.
Definitely, because you see, it tends to stimulate your mind. It tends to stimulate your body at the same time. Because I feel like once you've used to fasting, once you're used to, even if it's intermittent fasting, even if you're doing it for your own benefit, or it's spiritual, I feel like it tends to by the end of your fasting, you feel like you've renewed yourself, like a fresh mind, fresh everything. You've removed all the toxins from your body. So I feel like it's
especially
it's
from
good.
your stomach, your belly.
Definitely, because where all the food, that's where they go to. Yes.
So there are some. I saw somebody making some fun, saying that after Ramadan they are going to suffer.
Why?
A lot.
Why?
Sini wale wakutegea jioni.
Mtakuwa sawa tu. You'll be fine.
So I think the Ramadan is ending next week.
Yes.
So most definitely we shall be celebrating.
Eid al-Fitr.
We shall be celebrating, and a lot of things, of course, will be happening. For those of them who are not able to complete the fast, maybe they became sick on the way. So many things happened on the way. They usually have time. They can still do
compensate.
They can compensate the days
absolutely.
they lost. So we continue fasting.
Okay.
We continue praying.
Definitely. And pray for one another as well.
Sure.
Very important.
Sure. So to our Muslim brothers and sisters, tuko pamoja.
Kabisa.
Kabisa. We are together in this. Yes. So jana ilikuwa poa sana. I saw so many leaders headed to the coast for that iftar dinner. So they enjoyed, and that is quite awesome. So with few seconds remaining, we want to have some commercial break, and then we shall come back for the conversations right here.
Okay.
This is Radio Generation. Radio Generation Classifieds.
What makes the perfect pasta?
Introducing Tac Macaron. The right texture, the perfect taste and consistency you can trust. High quality pasta crafted for performance. Whether you're cooking for your family, serving guests, or running a busy kitchen, Tac Macaron delivers firm, delicious results every single time. Built for retail, perfect for food service. Loved in homes, demand the best. Tac Macaron. Consistency you can trust. Radio Generation Classifieds. This is Radio Generation. This is Generation Report, your weekly news roundup show on Radio Generation.
And yes, we are right back so that we can continue with the conversations right here. So this week also, remember it was, the aftermath of what happened in terms of the floods. You remember Friday?
I was part of it. I was part of it.
You were rained on?
Yes, I got rained on very, very nicely. I got home so wet. Like I was, my clothes were actually dripping water. And the fact that the rain started while I was still in CBD, had not gotten home. And the fact that I got home, the roads are already flooded, so I had to step on water. Like it was, I will never forget last week on Friday because I got rained on. Yes,
wow.
But it was a blessing in disguise, apparently, for me.
Okay, so for me,
Yeah.
actually, I was still in the office when it started raining.
Okay.
So then I remember I went. I was just staring at the rains, and I was like, I was just trying to imagine. I've never seen this kind of rain before.
Me too. It has. I feel like it was one of the. It came as for me it came as a surprise, and no one thought that. In as much as the Kenya Meteorological Department had warned about it, no one thought that it will be that severe. Because even that time when I was going home, by the end of the day, the roads were flooded, but not after some few hours, because the rain went on for almost 6 hours non-stop. It was not stopping, it was not reducing, and furthermore, it had a lot of impact as per today. Yes, as per today, 62 people lost their lives countrywide.
Yeah, and we cannot even count the property, the loss in terms of properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 62 people lost their lives, unfortunately. 9 people are still missing, considering there's the rescue operation that is still going on, courtesy of Red Cross and also the government. And more than 12,000 households have already been rendered homeless. More than 12,000 households.
Yes.
Wenye walikuwa naishi kwa hizo nyumba hawana makao tena. And to be very precise, is 12,338 people and houses hawana makao tena.
You see,
and so many counties are affected as well.
Yeah. So actually, that's what 18. I wanted to say, that this is not a matter of Nairobi alone. Of course, not. Nairobi, it was more severe.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the floods, we saw so many other counties, like currently as we speak, the Kisumu.
Kisumu, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Wajir, Kisumu, Machakos, Busia, yani ni county mingi zilikuwa actually there are 18 of them. 18 counties.
So let's come back.
Affected, yes.
Let's come back here. Come back to Nairobi. And before coming back to Nairobi, just a piece of advice to those people who really want to cross a flooded, an overflowing river. You can see. I saw there's a clip that was doing rounds on social media of this guy with a motorbike. Actually, it was in some part, I don't know, is it on Kambani or somewhere. So this guy wants to cross a river. People are telling him, please don't do.
Yeah.
But then amejijaza pale, ameingia na motorbike.
I feel
thank God he was saved. But ingekuwa ni story ingine tofauti.
Okay, I believe such people tend to think that, okay, they can do it. Because you see, by the end of the day, they think that everyone is afraid of passing through either bridge or
fools.
Exactly. So you're like, okay, mi naeza. You understand? So you go, but you risk your life. Because if that person was rescued, thank to God. Maybe his time was not
yet.
You understand? But I feel sometimes there's a level of stupidity. I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like there's that level of stupidity that you know very well. Water, if you've been in a swimming pool, water is very heavy. Very heavy. You understand? And that's a still. This is flowing. Mind you, this water is flowing. But you see, by the end of the day, you're like, mi naeza walk on the other side. You get my point?
That's so unfortunate. If most of the time, to the drivers, you're carrying people.
People, yeah.
Yeah? So you just want to risk the lives of so many people because of ignorance, because I tend to call that ignorance.
It is.
Please, if ukipata mahali kwamba mto ume overflow, please just stay, wait until, manake most of the time you realize that you'll not be alone.
Yeah,
you know, some other time people will think about security issues, but most times, if it is during these flooding times, you will not be alone.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it is quite unfortunate, because this reminds me of sometimes back when is it last year but one somewhere in Ukambani.
Okay. The bridge, the common bridge. I think
another one in Kitui. There was another one in Makueni County.
Okay.
And what happened is what I don't usually understand. That bridge is just next to a town. Just next to a town. So I was asking myself, why the rush? Why were people so rushing that much? Yet you have a town there. All of you can just go back to the town there and just wait.
Common sense is not common to everyone.
Well, back to the city here. There are so many reasons why the waters right here in Nairobi, the floods here are quite serious. And more severe. Looking at the constructions in Nairobi, you realize that nowadays you see everywhere almost in Nairobi it's tarmacked.
Yes. And cabros.
Yeah. So now the ground is no longer that porous like it used to be, like it can allow water to sink.
Yeah.
So what happens? I'm not
and also the drainage.
Yes.
Also the drainage on
and
the roads.
I'm coming to the drainage. So you realize that a lot of water, like when it rains, there is a lot of water flowing because now the ground cannot absorb this water.
Yes.
So a lot is really flowing. So when it finds blocked drainage systems, quite unfortunate for us.
Very.
Quite unfortunate. So I think the government has a lot to do.
And also you
and even me as a
resident of Nairobi.
Yes.
Because I tend to feel like, you see, most people, what they tend to do, in as much we have litter bins, someone will just throw anything. Either a bottle of soda, a bottle of people don't care. By the end of the day, they're like, hiyo ni kazi ya county government, watakuja wakote takataka and that's it. But you see, it's blocking this drainage, especially zile za barabara. You understand? So I believe us as Nairobians, us as Kenyans, we tend to have a part to play when it comes to undoing that blockage system.
There's somebody who just don't want to incur cost of garbage.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anatokea kwa dirisha na anarusha.
Anarusha too. Yes. Imagine. People don't
because
care.
They don't want to incur any cost in terms of garbage collection.
Yes, people don't
I've
care.
seen so many people walking with somebody in suits. Just somebody in a complete suit.
Yes.
Going to work. And they are carrying their garbage with them. Alafu anaenda akifika kwa barabara. Look right, left, back.
They just throw.
And they throw them.
That's why
mtu anapotea.
That's why I said common sense is not common to everyone. Because you see, you as Triciah, there's a level of you cannot do that.
Yeah.
You understand? But there's someone else who'll be like, whatever. I'll just do it. Furthermore, so
Kenyans need to know that.
Yeah, definitely.
In as much as we say that the government is responsible,
we need to take
remember
our own
the consequences.
Yes.
Kwanza sisi ndio tunabea sana.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we ukiwa unakaa hapo, it doesn't matter una stay in which area. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Please, you have a responsibility to keep the city clean. Lakini pia now to the county
to the county government wanafaa wafanye kitu pia. Wanafaa wafanye kitu.
Just around here in Kilimani, towards a Valley Road, I mean there is a Sitam church there. If you there is that road that crosses over to Kenyatta. I was just passing by there some other day, and I'm like, that drainage imemea mpaka nyasi. Na imeblock.
Yes.
So then you're asking yourself like, na tumeambiwa bado mvua haijaisha. So if it rains right now, the waters will have no way to, I mean, yatapita wapi maji?
It will still rain. Kenya Met has already said the next maybe 24 hours still mvua bado haijapungua. It will.
So me, I'm calling out on the county government of Nairobi, led by the governor Sakaja Johnson. I think that you need to up the game in terms of garbage collection and in terms of the drainage. I mean, those officers especially that drainage. You have assigned to do that work, wanalalia kazi gavana. How wanalalia kazi?
Yeah.
They need to up their game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because kuna a lot of places ziko blocked. So we are just tunatarajia tena mvua.
And it's
what are we going to do?
Actually, it's so unfortunate for those lives that zilipotea, especially in Nairobi, because around the Grogan area watu wengi walipatikana kule, meaning walikuwa nasukumwa na maji. You understand? Walikuwa nasukumwa na maji, and some according to the police statement 2 people died in their car. Inside their car. It is, I feel like it's a menace.
See, I heard that people were stuck in traffic jams.
Yeah, definitely.
Mtu yuko pale mpaka maji yamejaa.
Na si ati inaja ikiingia kwa gari. Si ati inaingia kwa gari because hakuna like maji imejaa kwa barabara to a point there's no way out. Unaona, there's no way. So zilikuwa zinaingia. It's so unfortunate. My heart goes out to each and every other family.
Yeah, in the area where I stay, I just overheard some ladies talking about their friend, how she lost her life. So they were in town together. And then sijui alikuwa anaruka wapi. She jumped, anataka kuruka, akaanguka kwa maji. And that's how she went. Sasa hiyo ameacha watoto wako kwa nyumba wanamngojea mama arudi nyumbani jioni.
It's very unfortunate. I feel like the government should either do something to the affected families, and by the end of the day, at least they will. Well, of course, you can't return someone's life. Once a life is lost completely.
Yes.
But I feel like the government needs to do something, especially the county government of Nairobi needs to do something.
Let's have a listen to this, and as we wind up on that.
Okay.
The government urges citizens to cooperate with response teams and observe the following safety measures. 1. Move to higher ground immediately if water levels rise, and contact 999 on your Nyumba Kumi or your Nyumba Kumi leader. Let me repeat that. Move to higher grounds immediately if water levels rise, and contact 999 or your Nyumba Kumi leader. Number 2, report power faults or fallen lines to KPLC.
We're dealing with a physical environment where there is a confluence of a lot of physical activities. You know, there is storm, there is transport issues, there is a lot of population influx into the space, same territory. So between 1954, maybe a population of 50,000 people,
right,
60,000, maybe 100,000 1954, to 5 million people today. So you find yourself with a lot of people in that same small territory.
Yeah.
And this territory, for very many years, has been described as a fragile ecosystem. You know, it's a basin. One side, it's hilly on the Ngong side. But on the Machakos side, you know, Eastland, it's a floodplain. So, yes.
Floodplain.
It is flood.
Okay.
Plain, okay? So, there is inbuilt vulnerability in that system.
Yeah, you've heard the government spokesperson, Isaac Mwaura, talking about, what people need to do. In case you find yourself in floods. But at this moment, we are going to go for commercial break, and then we'll be back.
This is Radio Generation. Radio Generation Classifieds.
This Eid, let's celebrate together. Get ready for the biggest family hangout of the season, Eid Family Fun Day. Happening on 20th March at MOW Sports Club South Sea from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's a full day of non-stop fun for the whole family. Kids, are you ready? We've got chobo, kati, skipping rope challenges, sack races, bouncing castles, and an epic color splash experience. Parents, relax and enjoy the vibes while the kids create unforgettable memories. Entry is only 600 bob for kids and just 200 bob for adults. Grab your tickets now at www.langopass.com. For more information, call 0706 268 836. Don't miss out. Mark your calendar. Eid Family Fun Day. Fun, family, celebration. See you on March 20th at MOW Sports Club South Sea.
Radio Generation Classifieds.
That the moment you make offenses and violations negotiable, you set the standard too low. Bringing certainty and deterrence to that process actually makes people behave. Definitely you must have given out the vehicle. So that is the concept. We are making sure that it is accompanied by the right speed signs that is showing very clearly that this section of the road you are supposed to have this kind of speed. Of course, the speed zones depends on the design of the road and also on the land use around there.
This is Radio Generation.
Well, we are right back, and this time round it's about the NTSA.
Yeah.
So last week I saw people have really complained about this.
Wamejitetea, but by the end of the day, a high court judge temporarily let me say halt the instant fines of which NTSA walikuwa na propose. And what does this fine mean? Meaning they will use the road cameras to detect any traffic violation. Once wame detect, walikuwa watume message, an SMS,
yes,
to motorist. Okay, walikuwa watume message to umeambiwa Patricia hivi na hivi ndio umefanya. And these fines were between 500 to 10,000. Okay, that's what NTSA hiyo system yao mpya walikuwa wanataka wafanye. But according to the High Court judge, that's Justice Bahati Wamue, he was like, oh, hold up, you can do this. This cannot happen here, at least not as per now. Okay, and the fact that she temporarily halted that particular system, I feel like okay, it might be a win-win, but by the end of the day, I feel like maybe NTSA walikuwa right, considering the fact that by the end of the day, road users, especially, we've seen different accidents for the past 3 months. Tangu mwaka ianze. So I believe with this instant fines, maybe not, they will like ingefanya all drivers wakue in a straight line, because you see this instant fines, they work in different countries. It's working in the US, it's working in Qatar, UAE, Dubai, like wanapewaga instant. Unaona, hiyo inafanya each and every motorist akiwa kwa barabara najua by the end of the day neza pata fine, neza fanya hivi, because they are supposed to pay, according to NTSA, you are supposed to pay that fine wamekuwa allow at a specific time.
Yes,
ulikuwa ulipe kenye hiyo makosa utakuwa umefanya, you understand? So I feel like the fact that still koti pia lazima iangalie tena, of which the matter can go back to court again after 90 days. Waangalie tena waone if NTSA did this and this, if this can be implemented in Kenya, can it work? I feel like it can work, so that drivers were very careful on the road, because I feel like sometimes some accidents are tuseme tu ni upotovu wa nidhamu for some drivers. Yeah.
Personally, what I would say, and this is my opinion, by the way, do not judge me.
Fine.
What I would say is anything that will make motorists disciplined.
Yes.
On the roads,
we should go
I
for
support.
It. Yes.
I support.
Yeah.
Anything, because we've lost lots of people lives, and it's quite unfortunate that sometimes it's because of just ignorance,
negligence,
yes,
overspeeding, careless,
yes,
overspeeding, careless driving. Because anyway, the good thing is the matter can still go back to court after 90 days. Itengenezwe, if ikipass, well and good, because I feel like it will instill discipline.
So why are
to motorists?
So why are Kenyans a bit about that?
Well,
are they mad about it?
They're mad about because you see, by the end of the day, okay, ina depend pia the cameras wanaangalia nini. You understand? So I think for them, most of the time, most Kenyans, not all, but most Kenyans, anytime there's a traffic light, maybe monesha red, mbele hakuna gari, sideways hakuna gari, as long as it's red, yani someone will just atapita tu. Yani either inawaka red, waki red, atapita, as long as hakuna gari zina interchange in between. And you know, in some countries you cannot do that, especially Qatar, you cannot do that. Even as long as it's red,
yes,
you will either gari nakuja haikuji, you will wait for the green light for you to move. But here
I have a friend
kwanza hapa Ngong Road.
I have a friend hata saa 8 saa 9 ya usiku. He really obeys the traffic lights.
There are few Kenyans who do that. Few Kenyans. Very few Kenyans. And that's why they're mad about it. Because you see, by the end of the day, even if you're driving at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., as long as umepita when the traffic light iko red, that's it. Hiyo ni fine unatumia kwa SMS huko mbele. You understand? And that's why they are mad about it. Because hawataki kukaa tuangoje the green light. Kenyans are very impatient.
I would support anything that will make that indisciplined driver on the road kukua disciplined. Anything that will make that owner of that vehicle to go and repair their car. Anything that will gonna make people responsible on the roads. Personally, I will support because I know and we have seen.
People have lost
how this really
ones.
affects families and people. It's quite unfair.
Very.
So let's wait and see.
I hope after 90 days it's a wait. For me, I feel like
or
it's
maybe
a
there's something that we don't know about that
the new system.
Yes,
no,
the new system. Maybe there's something that we don't know.
No, I'm not sure. I don't think so. Ni Kenya tu wako zile za hapana, we don't want this.
Wakenya amtaki
Kenyans are very impatient. They will never obey. Some, but majority are
well, this week on other news, Winnie, I saw that the former Foreign Affairs CS Monica Juma was appointed in a key UN position, United Nations position, which is a plus to us.
It is. Actually, me, I was so happy. And I was so happy because from where I'm sitting as a young girl, like I can actually see that indeed women can shatter ceilings. You understand? Because that position, I feel like it's one of the, can I say rare? And I feel like it's one of the most global roles, for any, or a global role for a Kenyan diplomat. Kukuwa na such a role. Like I feel it's a big win. It's a big win for women in leadership, and for me I feel like women like us who are coming up in our career and everything. Like we can actually see that, if I can borrow words from a marathon world holder, that's Eliud Kipchoge. There's a time he said that no human is limited.
Sure.
You get my point. And to see a woman, not only a woman, but a Kenyan woman, meaning that she will be a general at the headquarters in Vienna, that's Austria.
Yeah.
to me, it's like, I'm so happy for her.
Well,
so happy.
Personally, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the role that she's playing, and looking at how our country is one of the countries that are mostly affected by this, because she was appointed as the executive director of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
Yeah. So anything to do with crime, anything to do with drugs, anything to do with corruption, anything to do with human trafficking, your role.
Charity begins at home.
Definitely.
So this is what we are telling her.
Definitely.
Charity begins at home.
Definitely.
Hapa kwetu Kenya, drug trafficking has always been a problem. Yeah. We have seen, like, if you go to the coast, you look at the young people. You remember there's a time the governors there, the leaders at the coast were really fighting the issue of Miraa and Mogoka being brought to Mombasa, because they were saying that their young people have really been messed up.
Yeah,
and it is true. When you look at young people, people are using drugs.
Yeah.
You can see, and you can tell that there is a problem in the future. Our future has been affected.
Definitely.
Because these are the people that you are expecting that they will be parents tomorrow, they will be leaders tomorrow, but look at them. So there's a word that people a name that people have given them, especially those people who have been so much into drugs. Kule coast wanaita mateja. Ya mtu ambaye drugs zimekolea kwenye mwili, so they are just there. They are usually even to the family.
Of course, you'll become a menace.
Yeah.
A very big problem to the family.
So I think it's a good position, and we are. Again, I'm going to remind her, charity begins at home. We have organized crime in our country, corruption, we have issues of terrorism, and so many other issues really affecting us. So we are hoping that the resources zenye ziko kule, I wish.
I'm sure atafanya kitu. I'm sure she will not forget where a home country is, so I'm sure atafanya kitu, but I'm so happy for her. It's a very big position in women in leadership, especially women in leadership. That was something very
Other news maybe Kenyans need to know before we get before we sit in now with the guests who are already in the studio is the nomination of Njoki.
Njoki Ndung'u, another big win.
Yes,
another big win.
So to the Supreme Court judge. So I think this is
awesome. If he gets nominated for that particular position,
she's been nominated.
She's been nominated by the president.
Yes,
the election's supposed to happen in December 7th to December 17th this year in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
And if she gets this particular position, she will be the second Kenyan to ever work at the ICC. A big win again for women.
For that
for that particular position.
Yes.
A big win for Kenya as well.
Tutakuwa tunapata Wakenya wengi kule wanafanya kazi.
We should. Kenyans are good people.
So the other big story that happened this week, of course we shall dive in deeper with the guest, is about the 10-point gender report that was released on Tuesday, the 10th of March. So it was actually supposed to be on the 7th, but it was done on the 10th.
On the 10th, okay.
Yeah, and of course we've had different reactions from different corners of this country around that report, because it has a lot.
It has a lot.
It has a lot. So trying to measure how far the implementation reached, like to what rate, to what percentage, I remember they said that it was around 80-90 complete somewhere there, according to them now. But you've seen so many people have come out and said no, and especially the Sifuna faction. You remember what they said? They said hakuna. Even the time that was time ambao waliongezwa pia na rais ya kuendelea. He had like 60 more days.
And still not yet.
So this Sifuna faction said this is wastage of resources and time. There's nothing that is going to be implemented.
But it's a wait and see attitude.
Sure. Sure.
It's a wait and see attitude, yes.
So let's wait and see what comes out of the conversation that is about to start here together with our guest.
Okay.
Yeah. So for now, let's take a commercial break, and we will be right back. So do not go far. This is Radio Generation. The show you're listening to is the Generation Report that comes from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So stay tuned.
This is Radio Generation. Today's quick Ramathani home comfort tips in association with Tile and Carpet.
Recharge your energy between long nights of prayer. Create a sanctuary for short rest periods with soft, coordinated dormers bedding from Tiles and Carpet, designed to help you find deep, restorative calm during the holy month.
Today's quick Ramathani home comfort tips in association with Tile and Carpet. This is Radio Generation.
Tomorrow, as you are aware, we are having elections in 18 counties around the country, mainly in Mount Kenya region and Rift Valley region. We were supposed to have elections in 20 counties, but we removed 2 counties, that is Nakuru, because as you are aware, there is a safari rally which is happening there tomorrow, from yesterday, today, tomorrow and Sunday. Then there is Kakamega County, whereby there has been a massive registration, and we thought that because there are so many contestants, more than 40,000 contestants, we decided to give them their day, which will be on 28th for Kakamega and Nakuru. So tomorrow, our elections will happen as scheduled. They will be starting at 8 in the morning and ending at 5 in the evening. You'll be doing elections in 8,819 polling stations, and you'll be having almost 19,000 election officials, that is the returning officers and the clerks, who will be in their station. They are being trained today, and they are going to go there with the devices. We are going to use 9,000 devices all out, and
2 years almost at 129. It has actually been cited as one of the 5 strongest currencies in the world. This is really, really commendable, and because now we are able to cover 6.2 miles of importation, that we don't need that. Before it used to be 5.3. By the time we actually came, our reserves were very low, but we have actually been able to take to that level.
What we are trying to do as a port is that we want to be a landlord port. A landlord port is a situation whereby it's like I own the plot and I own the house, but I've rented you for the house only to live in that house. But the house belongs to me. The land belongs to me. So there is nothing like, it's a landlord port. All the assets belong to the government through Kenya Ports Authority. Now we have 2 major shipping lines now that have chosen the port of Lamu as their transshipment hub within this region. And the maiden voyage for the car carrier that came in today has also given us at least business today, and I've also confirmed that they have now chosen Lamu Port as transit.
I went to the people of Kenya with a plan. I made commitments. We rolled out a program and a manifesto. I am ready to be examined on the basis of the manifesto that I presented to the people of Kenya, and I am ready for the exam, whether I did what I told the people of Kenya or I did not. That exam, I am ready for it.
Your Excellency, the police station here is a colonial police station. Even the cells where people go are so old, Bwana President. Please, Bwana President, consider upgrading this police station. And there's a lot of crime here, Mr. Speaker, in our area. So please help us. These people in the shopping center are being killed left and center. And Mr. President, that is all I wanted to mention.
So I plead with the government to prioritize this issue and to see that they execute their duty of care. Failure to which I think we are also considering a class action suit. So even before Mr. Mudavadi travels to Russia, the ambassador of Russia should have been summoned to tell us what is happening in his country.
Since this matter came up, we feel that the Minister for Foreign Affairs should have taken it up very quickly.
The rail transportation sector has witnessed remarkable transformation. The Kenya-Uganda Standard Gauge Railway Agreement, signed in March 2025, commits both nations to completing the Nairobi-Kampala link by 2028, cutting travel time from 14 hours to 4 hours and freight costs by 35%. In fact, on 20th this month,
50% of our police stations don't have any form of transport. And that is an impediment, actually, the provision of services. So we would request this committee to support us in that direction so that as many police stations as possible can actually be afforded a transport.
We're dealing with a physical environment where there is a confluence of a lot of physical activities. There is storm, there is transport issues, there is a lot of population influx into the space, same territory. So between 1954, maybe a population of 50,000 people, right, 60,000, maybe 100,000, 1954, to 5 million people today. So you find yourself with a lot of people in that same small territory. Yeah. And this territory, for very many years, has been described as a fragile ecosystem. It's a basin. One side, it's hilly on the Ngong side. But on the Machakos side, Eastland, it's a floodplain. So, yes.
Floodplain.
It is floodplain. Okay. So, there is inbuilt vulnerability in that system.
I leave a final message as a chairman, especially to our country, to the political class. As a nation, we must safeguard the credibility of our markets. The progress we have made should not be taken for granted. It has taken many years of discipline, sound policy, and trust building. The political class should not politicize this market. Analysis is correct, it is right to analyze, and it is right to share opinion. But it should not be done in a way that compromises investor confidence. We must decouple politics from our markets. Kenya's capital markets have the potential to unlock immense value to our citizens, attract regional and global investment, and position Nairobi as a financial hub for both East Africa.
Yes, we are right back here at the Generation Report. Remember, the show runs from 7 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. We are done. We are almost done with 1 hour because we are only remaining with 7 minutes to 8. So this time around, I'm just welcoming my guests, my analysts. They are already in the house. So that now we can start a new conversation. And of course, we will touch on some of the stories that we've just done with my colleague in a deeper way, because we would want to hear their submission or their opinions around those stories. So in the studio right now, I am joined by one Peter Musendu. He's going to introduce himself. We also have another guest right here in the studio, Wakili. You're also going to introduce yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes, and there's also another guest who is supposed to join us as we continue with this conversation. So I'm going to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yes. Good evening to the listeners. I must say that this is the first one. I normally don't do interviews on weekends, but because I am a regular guest at the morning shows here,
yes,
I thought it was important to feel the change.
Actually, it is important.
It's important to feel the change.
Yes.
My name is Peter Mushendo. I come from Limuru constituency in a ward called Deya Ward. I also serve in a capacity as a director of a government entity called Konza Technopolis Development Authority.
Yes.
I serve a director there. I'm serving 2 years plus now.
Oh.
And I'm happy to be here.
So for how long are you supposed to be serving in that?
Normally, the regulations that govern our parastatals requires that you get an appointment of 3 years.
Yes.
If you are fortunate enough, you get one singular renewal. You cannot serve in a parastatal more than 6 years.
Oh, okay.
That's the regulation.
Okay, we are getting back to you.
Yes.
Actually, utuambie Konza imefikia wapi.
Yes.
Yeah, the viewers would want to. Actually, it's not listeners alone.
Yes.
Viewers of the
Yes.
Generation Report show.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, because people are watching this show from different places. Yeah, so we will be back.
All right.
Yeah, so then we can look at Konza City. So this is other side, Wakili.
Yes.
How has your week been?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to the show. Just like my friend has said, I also don't do interviews during the weekends. But when I saw that this was a platform for us to talk with Kenyans and inform them, I said, why not? So indeed, I'm thankful enough to be here today so that we are able to discuss a few issues here and there with Kenyans. So my name is Philip Langat. Mimi ni wakili. I practice here in Nairobi and also in Kericho, where I come from. And I come from a village called Tuluet village. Deep in Tuluet village, yes, in Bureti constituency in Kericho County. Yeah.
So karibu sana. Wiki yako imekuwaje?
Wiki imekuwa best. Tunashukuru. We thank God. Although the rains, of course, we know what is happening. There is a lot of flooding. And even as I was coming here, the weathermen had stated that in the next maybe 2 or 3 days, we're also going to have floods again. But we will manage. We have been in this city, so we will manage.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So back to Mushendu.
Yes.
You said it's Mushendu.
Mushendu, yes.
Yeah. So Konza City.
Yes.
I remember that time people were so happy about that idea, that whole idea, and especially because it is connected to the 2030 vision. But it reached a point that I think we lost hope. Yeah, things seems like there's nothing happening. Actually, it is in my area, by the way. Yeah, kutoka kwangu nyumbani mpaka hapo ni karibu sana. Yeah, so maybe utupatie tu update kidogo, we know what is happening.
Well, Konza City, it's known as Konza Technopolis Development Authority. It is a creation of a legal notice during the reigns of His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki. And the dream and the vision was being spearheaded by Bitange Demo, the former permanent secretary of ICT. And I believe around 2008 thereabout, Kibaki comes to Konza and lays the foundation stone at Konza those many years ago. And I would remember how people quickly learned to buy Konza plots or a hot cake.
I remember, yes.
So many of my friends have some pieces there. Fast forward, there was about 3 phases of Konza. The first one was now to plan, because Konza was just another lunch that government acquired, and it is a land of about 5,000 acres. And because we were doing a technopolis, a city that is supposed to be self-sustainable, there needed to be a very serious planning. We did what is called master planning. The entire 5,000 acres, it was done by an American company. And those days, Konza Technopolis headquarters were based here in Westlands. So we would then now get to the implementation stage of that planning, because after planning, we needed to source for funding.
Yes.
Because unlike other towns, we needed to develop the infrastructural the horizontal infrastructure before you can put anything going up vertical. What does that mean? this is a city that was to be built to become sustainable for another 100 years. So we needed to seriously look at how to develop the horizontal infrastructure. Otherwise, we would end up with what is happening in Nairobi. There is digging everywhere. There is trenches everywhere because people are trying to plan what was never planned for. So you needed to plan a city with 100 years in mind. So what, yes?
Can I cut you short kidogo so that now we get to the top of the hour? Then now, as we come back, you're going to tell us, I'm interested in that part of financing to understand how this is going to happen. So for now, let's get to the top of the hour.
It's 8 o'clock.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This week, power was tested in the corridors of leadership, economies shook under pressure, and the voices of ordinary citizens demanded to be heard. From breaking decisions in high office to protests in the streets, from moments of triumph to tragedies that stopped us in our tracks, these are the headlines that shaped our week. And beyond the noise, we search for what really matters, the connections, the context, the stories behind the stories. Introducing Triciah, and this is your weekly news roundup on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
And yes, we are right back. This is Radio Generation. The show that you are tuned into is the Generation Report, brought to you by myself, Triciah Wayua. And of course, you are tuned to Radio Generation, that is on your FM on 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 all the way in Mombasa and its environs, and 89.5 all the way to Garissa and its environs. Those of you who are not in those frequencies, of course, you are able to follow the conversations right here and to participate. That is on our social media platforms. That is at Radio Gen KE. That is on Facebook, Instagram, tuko kwa TikTok. We are also live on YouTube and all those social media platforms. We are live. You're able to follow the conversation. rgk.co.ke, also on our digital platform. You are able to follow the conversations that are happening right here. Remember, the Generation Report show is all about the big stories that happened in the course of the week. Yeah, we break them down. We give them a different perspective because I have analysts in the studio. So please stay tuned in because this is gonna be great, gonna be big, because I have Nikonama heavyweights in the studio, by the way. On this side I have Wakili Philip. At the center here I have Mushendu, and on this other side we are joined by one Nicholas Oyo. Yeah, he's not gotten the opportunity to introduce himself, but nampatia nafasi kwa sasa hivi so that he introduces himself. Karibu.
Yeah, asante sana. Poleni kwa kukuja, nimechelewa kidogo. My name is Nicholas Oyo. I'm the Secretary General of the Free Kenya Movement. I'm also a human rights activist. I'm also siasa kidogo and business. Yeah.
Na biashara. Pesa iko kwa wingi.
Tunajaribu.
Yes, yeah. So you just found us doing a bit of introduction, and Mushendu here was just giving us a brief of what happens at Konsa Techno Police. Yes. Yeah, so we just give you like 2 minutes to wind up that, so now we can get to something else.
So as I was saying, when we were getting to the development stage, we needed to look at the sustainability of the city.
Yeah.
And we had 100 years in mind. So then that meant that before you could go vertical, you needed to create a very sustainable horizontal development.
Yes.
And so we subdivided Konza into 3 parts: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Now, as I'm talking to you, we have completed phase 1. And when I say horizontal development 1, in Konza, we envisioned that there will not be any overhead service. What do I mean when I say overhead service? You not have electricity lines lining up there, internet lining up there, everything. So everything has to be done underneath.
Oh.
And that is the infrastructure we did. We dealt with stormwater, We dealt with service tunnels. We have in Konza, the entire phase 1, you have a 2.5 by 2.5 service tunnel underneath that all the 700, because phase 1 has about 700, over 700 acres done. You have gas reticration running under, because we do not envision in Konza where people will be running up with gas cylinders. You have stormwater dealt with under. You have electricity connections, it's plug and play under. You have internet, it's plug and play. And then you have what is called water reclamation system. What do I mean? We are now able to reclaim up to 80% of our wastewater, the ones people use when they go to the toilet and everything. And we are able to reclaim it up to 80%. We can do 20% up to drinkable levels. But of course, with WHO regulations, we have not yet gotten to that level. So what we do now is that we reclaim it, send it to the tower, and then run it down as the greening water. It's the water we are using to do greening. So we do not envision wastage in Konza. Okay. Number 2, we have what is called waste management system. It's a Spanish technology where we now use, you see the same way you use vacuum in your house to vacuum your... So we are able to segregate waste at source. And then once you fill up the bin, a sensor is sent to the waste management center where it vacuums that waste all the way to up to 3 kilometers to the waste management site. So there we deal with the odors, we treat that waste, and then if it is plastic and whatever, we compress, take it to the person who is going to do value addition. If it is bio, we take it to the people who are now coming up trying to make fertilizer. I'm not giving you stories, I'm giving you what already that has happened in Konza. And therefore, I understand when people were feeling like Konza is, the hope is lost. But doing that horizontal infrastructure has taken almost 10 years to be able to do an infrastructure that can last a city 100 years. And then again, we have divided Konza into what is called bands, 5 bands, because it's 5,000 acres, 100% mastered. First band is along Mombasa Road as you're going home. That is what we call the commercial band. So after commercial band, you come to what is called the technology band. This is where we envision, because the vision of Konza was to become the home of BPOs. So we envision that is the band where the BPOs are going to take over. After commercial band, you go to what is called residential band. Now, residential band is designed starting with the most populated all the way coming down to road dense populated. After that, you go to education band. Education band is where the education institutions will set up. We have now spent over close to 6 billion building the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, which the president is coming to charter this month as the first all-graduate university in the country.
And so he's also a student there.
Yes. He is a student of the Open University, which is also part of Konza. Riala University main campus is now moving from Nairobi to Konza. They have already started constructing. We have another university coming out of China to come and settle there. And then we have the industrial band, which is the right industry band at the end. The essence is that we envision Konza to have 260,000 people working there during the day, and 180,000 who will work, live, play, and stay in Konza. And therefore, as you come to apply as an investor, you must, because we have mastered it, we will ensure that whatever investor comes, the number of people, the services we have done are supposed to give do not change. So if today he comes and what he needs to do and where he needs to do it, he needs 10 stories and it is 9. If we do amendment and give him 10 stories, it means someone else is going to lose another story, because we want to ensure that the number of people designed to be served by the system do not exceed. The other one is, you do not want to come today. how did we get Mathare? How did we get Kibra? How did we get, there's another place, I can't remember the name, next to the Gree Hotel here in Kiambu Road. There's a slum.
I mean, now we arrived at those slums.
How did we arrive at those slums?
There are many factors, yes.
Because we designed Lunda, and we did not design where the people who are supposed to work in Lunda are going to live. We designed Muthaiga. We never thought of the people who will work at Muthaiga. How will they live? How will the people who are working at Karen, how are they going to live? That is how we ended up with those. So what have we done? One side, in Konza, we have the system of housing starts with the smallest person there to the lowest. In fact, the affordable housing concept, it started way back in Konza, where we wanted to have affordable housing that is going to ensure that the person employed to work for you or work for the other person also has a good, habitable, clean place and those. Yes. Then we talked to Machakos County Government, Makueni County Government, and Kajiado, because Konza touches the 3 counties. We have now mastered a radius of 10 kilometers outside the perimeters of fence. A radius of 10 kilometers. We have now requested the county assemblies to pass what is called controlled development, and it has been passed. That has added another 120,000 of controlled development around the Konza. So tomorrow you do not wake up and expect a kilometer away from Konza you will find a slum. Or 2 kilometers away from Konza you will find a slum. That is how we are looking at. If we fill the 5,000, and we will do it very soon, people like you who will probably next year make 100 of millions, and they want to come and invest, we still leave space for capital development, even though it is outside Konza, it is building. Okay. And I would invite everybody to look at how the city of Pretoria in South Africa was done, and you realize that the government comes and does the CBD the same way we are doing in Konza, but also controlled development around Pretoria. That is what Pretoria has expanded. Pretoria is 125,000 acres. So that is how we look at Konza in the next years to come. Who knows? You may hear future government moving the administrative capital out of here to Konza. And just to spice it up, government is doing an international airport next to Konza at land owned by Ilil. It's going to cost us 248 billion to do that. Wow. And it's going, because, and I hope one day you invite us, and Wakili here should come and tell people the importance of PPP, because I'm telling you, we cannot tax our people anymore. Neither can we go taking loans, because we don't have the capacity. We almost got sunk a few years ago. It is only that God helped us, and the government was able to navigate through defaulting alone. So we don't need more loans. We don't need to tax our people. If we tax our people, my friend here will marshal them to the streets. So we need to look at the public-private partnership on how we can develop
because
Kenya.
You've already started it. That is a fund, of course, that was launched the other day. We saw the is it the MPs? Yeah. And then now the president also now signed it. So far, I don't know what is the problem with the infrastructure fund. Wakili.
Well, thank you very much once again. I like the exposition by Mr. Mushendu. Yeah. The way he understands the Konza city and how it is going to develop. Actually, I'm learning a lot, because, to be honest, I think Konza city had stalled for. We actually thought that it had stalled.
Yes.
But thank God, today Mushendu has clarified that it's actually under progress, and we are very happy as Kenyans. Personally, as a Kenyan, I was very much interested in the progress of that city, and I think I'm getting the answers. Well, to be honest, public-private partnerships are the best way to go, because we are avoiding taxing the common mwananchi further. We are also avoiding loans, international loans. Remember, Kenya was among the countries that was supposed to default. I think there was Ghana, there was Zambia, quite a number of countries in Africa.
Even our neighbor here, Ethiopia.
Even Ethiopia. But what we must give credit to Kasongo. I know Kasongo is very unpopular right now, but we must give him credit also at some point that he managed to kind of steer the country away from defaulting. So that right now, our books are not so bad. We were almost going to the red zone. And that is why the president came out and said we need to start looking for other ways of making money. Not necessarily taxing, not necessarily borrowing loans, but through PPP. And one example of the PPP that had been projected earlier on, I think that was last year, was the Adani Group, which was an Indian investment company which wanted to build an airport but then run it for the next 30 years or so. We had a problem with that, and the deal was cancelled because of politics of the day again. But if you ask me from a legal perspective and where I sit, we need such investments. Even the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga had actually endorsed it, had actually given it a green light, that let us go the PPP way. Let us have investors, foreigners, let them come here, let them develop, let them run the infrastructure for maybe 30 years. Let them return their capital, but we enjoy the services that are left behind. So yes, you've asked where are we now in terms of that fund. I think recently it was passed under an act.
Actually, I asked what is the problem with that fund?
There is no problem, really.
You have no problem with
Yes,
that fund?
yes, I absolutely have nothing wrong with it, because it has to be the beauty about what we come up with in our country is that there has to be public participation. I will give a comparison of what you spoke earlier in your station, the issue of what we call NTSA fines.
Yes.
You know, the big issue that lawyers had is what sort of fund is this? What sort of fine is this? There was no public participation. People don't know who is it, the motorist? Is it the one of the motorist? At what stage do we have the signage? So that, for example, if you are not supposed to exceed 50 kilometers per hour, do we have really signages all across the country? So, but for the national fund that was enacted recently into an act, we had public participation for that. And the major reason behind it is that we are trying to avoid loans. We're also trying to avoid overtaxing Kenyans. So I don't see any problem with that fund, and I hope it is going to develop this country. Yeah.
Let's hear also from Nicholas.
Yeah, I think for me, we have a lot of problems with that fund.
Yes.
The first thing is that there's a lot of opaqueness in these funds. You find that, someone like me, I don't even know exactly when that public participation is talking about happened and the way it happened. Because you see, there's public participation where I can do something to the newspaper and I call people to a meeting. We've done several of them here in Nairobi here when we had one with Sonko. And it was 2 places, and you find that the issues that you're going to discuss is big like this, and you find that you can't get enough time to look at those things. So I find it really shocking that this thing is going to go away from public eyes, because it's going to be done in a manner that it's a company, and this company seems to be a private company. That is exactly what looks like. And actually, most of these assets that have been sold in this country, they are moving to become private companies. Now, when it is private, and you want to do our roads and everything and what have you, we need to participate in those things. We need to know what 30 years from now is going to be. 50 years from now is going to be, because we are Kenyans. You can't have a situation where a private entity decides to do whatever it wants to do in this country, and then after 30 years, sasa tukitaka mahali where we cannot get that space because there was something that was planned for that and we don't know what it is. I think this is running away from the people, and it's very unfortunate what you're seeing with this parliament. By the way, I'm really shocked the way this parliament has been moving, because it looks like something can pass there within 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, imepita mara moja na imesainiwa huko State House. Well, we are going to court about it. I believe there are people in court already. And unajua tu vile itakuwa. Tutapelekana huko.
Nick, if I may,
and unfortunately we have also questions with some of our judges, but ni sawa, tutapelekana huko.
I mean, Nick, we are talking about the National Infrastructure Fund, right? The one that was passed into an act recently.
Just the other day.
Yes, just the other day. So yeah, there is still, I don't know whether there is still a window for people to challenge that in court, because it is already a law.
Yeah.
But that is not to say that people cannot go to court. You still have a window actually to challenge it, but you would be challenging some clauses, not the entire act. Because again, challenging the entire act would be quite a tall order. In my own estimation, it ought to have been done earlier before it became an act. So I believe well, if there are some clauses that are not in they are not aligned to the people, or people have problems with it, I believe they can challenge it. But so far, this is an act which seeks to get resources to fund major national highways in this country, railways, generally infrastructure.
Yes.
But now the catch is we are no longer going to the traditional sources of revenue. We are not going to Uganda to borrow money. We are not going to IMF to borrow money. We are going to other sources of collecting money. So we are looking at private partnerships. If there is a billionaire who wants to invest that money here, so be it. So that we now have to say, like a country, we have to say, okay, fine, we have to wait for 30 years, 20 years, let us have another expressway. And I'm even happy because there is this Rironi Mausamit road that is under construction right now. I'm very sure Nick has seen it. Well, he's going, me and Nick, we come from those sides. Nick, you must agree with the entire panel that actually there are works ongoing right now.
I don't.
And the beauty about that, by the way, Triciah, the beauty about that is that this is a huge, kilometer of road, and it has been subdivided into smaller kilometers of road, where now people are getting, contractors are subdividing the entire stretch, so that it doesn't have to be one party alone doing the entire work. You see, so we are also giving employment and creating job opportunities along the way by subdividing these huge contracts and in the process of developing our country.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'll give you an opportunity to give your submission. So having sat with different people, and I've had different opinions around this whole issue of the infrastructure fund, and like he said about the opaqueness. And now this will be managed. Actually, I think what Kenyans are afraid of is what we have seen before. Yeah, we've been having regimes that are in place, a government, an administration that has been in place, inakuja inaingiza inchi kwenye madeni. And then now people later, Kenyans suffer. So I've just been looking at it from the perspective that what happens in future? What if in future again we will say that, that regime really failed us because of this and this. So I think, like, for example, the debts that we are talking about, we've heard of these odious debts, we've heard of corruption and scandals in these all financial issues that we are having as a country. So I think, how can the regime or the government right now assure Kenyans that kesho haitafika alafu Kenyans waanze kusema na tulisema hii kitu. I think that is what I think Kenyans are afraid, because once beaten,
twice shy.
But let me tell you, the truth of the matter. Do we now let the country go to the dogs because people in previous government have failed to do what they must do?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you in the words of the former departed premier of Singapore, which has now become, I probably think now Singapore has become the most famous country in this nation.
Yeah.
He once said that whoever is going to rule Singapore must be of an iron fist, must be made of iron, must be hardened to be able to make some bold decisions for this country. One, I want to dispute the fact that my friend here says that he doesn't know the public participation. I'm not from Nairobi, I'm from Kiambu. I participated in a public participation for the infrastructure fund in Kiambu. I also had the honor of participating on 27th of February. The public participation on infrastructure bill for Nairobi was in KICC. I was present. The member, it was being moderated by the Kitui Luro member of parliament. It's called Boni or something. Can't remember his name. So the public participation was announced by the National Assembly to the specific congregations and where counties will congregate to go and discuss. I believe probably my friend here might have been on the street. He did not get the word for the same on a writer note. But what I am saying is, one of the things I am proud about my president, he is taking the bull by its horn. He is making decisions most people failed to make. You know, if you look at the affordable housing, are you aware that William Ruto has not passed any new law other than what was passed by Uhuru? In fact, the only thing William Ruto did different with Uhuru Kenyatta is reduce the amount from 5% to 2.5%. These are regulations that were passed during Uhuru. But Uhuru chose to become popular rather than make a decision that would serve Kenya. He abandoned it. Uhuru chose to become popular and started subsidy for Ugari. You remember him meeting millers in State House and subsidizing Ugari. Where was he getting the money? Uhuru chose to give us a fake cost of fuel. Do you know when we were buying our fuel in Nairobi at 125 shillings, how much fuel was going in Kampala? How much fuel was going in Bujumbura? Or in Kigali or in Dar es Salaam? The capitals.
The concerns, yeah?
You see, he went to our dollar reserve, decided to put the hearts in the cookie jar and come and give us fake cost and give us give Kenyans comfort of giving them subsidy. But in real sense, what was that doing to the economy? We were at the brink of going to the red. I mean, if you want to know what it means, go to the red. Ask our neighbors up here or go to Accra, Ghana and ask them what it is doing to their economy. And one of the hardest decisions the president made was to cut subsidy on fuel, to be able to stabilize the dollar, to cut subsidy on production and subsidize, to cut subsidy on the final product and subsidize production so that we are able to get to where we are. And I'll tell you, when we brought Adani, and this is a problem with Kenyans, we are suspicious with each other over nothing. One of the most successful things His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta did was this expressway. It is one of the successful cases of public-private partnership. Today, the expressway is able to meet its obligation, and it is giving us some surplus.
Absolutely.
So, what we need to do is that, as Kenyans, yes, we feel that we are betrayed by the previous administrations, but that does not stop us from believing that things can be better tomorrow. If William Ruto came and sat and said that this debt is too much, we have to default, and decided not to do anything, where would this country be? But the man decided, and let me tell you something about Kenyan politics. You are a darling of the people when you are running for office. The day you are sworn in, and these ones are politicians who tell you, the day you are sworn in, not any other day, that day you are sworn in, some 20+% stop supporting you immediately, because that is the Kenyan blood. We love competition. How can a president stop us from campaigning for another 5 years? So we must state him so that he can start campaigning immediately. That's the nature of our country. But let me tell you, where we are as a nation, we need someone taking the bull by its horn. Let me tell you, that National Infrastructure Fund, it is going to save this nation. Which money are we borrowing in China? Do you ever ask yourself what money we borrow in China? The money we get in China from a Chinese bank called the Chinese Exim Bank, it is money that comes from a singular source. That singular source is the people's savings of the Republic of China. It is low today in China. You must save 51%. of your earning. You must save it. It is by law. So the money we are getting from China, we are ensuring somebody in Chengdu in China or somebody in EU or in Shanghai who has put money in that fund is getting to earn a better retirement from the tax that you have to be charged to be able to pay for that money. And therefore, when the president builds the National Infrastructure Fund, people like him need to look for something else to do. Not just to block anything, because they spend their time in the street and in they love streets, because if they are not in the outdoor streets, they are in the corridors of justice trying to block the government.
Give them an opportunity to respond.
We don't block anything.
Yes.
We ask questions. We ask for accountability. Some of us, I come from the organization called Free Kenya. We actually pushing for a referendum. If you look at our website, www.freekenya.co.ke, we are pushing for a referendum because we want to bring people into this. You imagine we are talking about debt. We are talking about problems of resources. But it is only 3 million Kenyans who actually support this country. That is a question somebody must ask.
Wait a minute. This referendum that you're pushing to happen when?
As soon as we can get 1 million signatures, and we are headed there. We are in 400,000, and we
to
are
happen even before the elections.
Even the government wants to do its own referendum, because this is the thing: we are having a country whereby this country has a problem in the situation where you don't have the people participating in a lot of things. So we are saying this, that one of the things we are pushing in that referendum, anything that is passed in this parliament, because we saw with the finance bill,
yes, anything
that is passed in this parliament must come to the people first. They must look at it and see here itatuuma sana. You get the point?
Yes.
If it is of over 50% nusu, then we discuss and pass it. But if 70% go against that one, wachana na hiyo kitu. Because we cannot have a country where somebody is moving this country in a direction ye peke yake anajua anaenda wapi. This is our country. Singapore wanafikiri atafika kweli kama sisi hatuko pamoja.
Let me tell you, even if
this
we
country
pass
has
those laws,
over 55 million Kenyans. We need at least 15 to 20 million Kenyans participating.
But you see, let me tell you, whatever he is proposing, you
can't tell me that.
Let me tell you, whatever he is proposing, it is null and void in this sense that we have given ourselves a constitution. You know the Article 1 of the Constitution, and Wakili is here. I'm not an authority in law, but it says the sovereign authority of this constitution is vested to the people, of Kenya. They can exercise it directly or indirectly through the people they elect in their good capacity as Kenyans who think when they go to the ballot. They know that 120,000 voters from Limuru constituency could not fit in the National Assembly. That is why they went to the ballot. Out of a pool of over 10 people, they choose one honorable engineer Kirago Shereke to represent them in the National Assembly. Now, this is the question. The same Kenyans he is trying to purport to defend I said cognizant of exactly the words I am using, which he purports to try to defend. And I use, that's my word. You cannot amend what I am saying. I am the one who is saying it. I am saying,
on the floor, so
yes,
you need to
I'll protect you.
I am saying
yes,
that these Kenyans, what takes them to the ballot? What reasons or what qualities do they look in a reader when they elect him? Because that is the problem we are having. Because you cannot elect people to go and do registration for you in parliament, and when they go, they do. You want to purport that you are telling us that Kenyans are disowning what is made by the very people they elected. Again. Whenever there is an amendment of any act of parliament, he will tell you, National Assembly makes it a business to announce to the public that there is this law that is supposed to be passed, and it requires the public to put their input there. You can either be called to go defend. I have been before committees of parliament as an individual to defend or to fight against any act. I have sent memorandums, but because
for me, this country, we are going back to where civil society is a mean to make living for some people. It is not meant to help this country. It is meant to keep some funny characters outside the country who helps them to continue ailing them. So you cannot come and tell me you don't spend time to tell people about public participation in parliament.
I want to start,
but you want to stay in parliament. You want to stay in the street.
I want to start at this point. I want to start at this point. When he says that a number of people, we cannot all go to parliament, it is true and it is right.
Sure.
But I want to give him an example of, say, for a very simple thing, matatu. You know, he's talking very loud things. Tuongee kitu simple.
Yes.
Matatu, for instance, you own that matatu. If you find that imekuja ikabadilishwa rangi jioni na ulipatiana asubuhi ikiwa white, imekuja imepigwa sijui red, what will happen? You will send those people away. You answer to the owner of that vehicle every day. That is what we are saying here, that this country belongs to us. We are the directors of this country. Look at an example of a school. As the directors of the school, you must always, at every time, participate in that process. So that mtu asiwapitishie kitu, ulimpatia kazi, ukaenda kulala, ukiamka upate, ameuza Kenya, imeenda Uganda. You get the point? Those can happen. These MPs, they look like mlipesa tu wanapewa alafu wanafanya vitu. So we are saying here that we are starting the constitution from where he was talking about. Hapo mahali tumeongea about indirect. The entire process we've been doing so far is indirect. Anionyeshe direct. So as we are saying that we want to make sure that Kenyans are also going to participate directly in this process. Ndio issue yetu ya pili inaitwa people's government. So we are asking Kenyans, and by the way, changing the constitution usiseme ati ni null and void. It is there in article 257. Ama unasomanga katiba pande ya
No, you see,
article 257.3. Look at article 257.3. It allows us to amend the constitution if you get 1 million signatures. Tukipata 24 counties, we're going to amend this constitution.
Okay, let's also hear from
Absolutely.
Wakili.
Yes.
Wakili, yes.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for protecting me. You can see that it is a very intellectual discourse.
Yes.
It's very important for us to inform our people from wherever that indeed we have a country, and as you can see clearly, we are having two different sets of people like Nick. Of course, they want to change the constitution, they want accountability, they want transparency. We also have on the other side someone like Mushendu who is saying we need to have progress. And I agree with him to a certain extent, because why would we be going to court on almost every single thing that the government wants to do? It reaches a point where we need to ask ourselves, are we really checking the government, or are we preventing progress in our country? All right. There is a recent development. I think the government wanted to construct a road somewhere in Kikuyu. I think it's a bypass. I don't know whether it's... But some people went to court to block it, saying that, there is no public participation, I don't know what. Yes, public participation is good. But when you put it on the scales of justice vis-a-vis the progress of this nation, which one are you going to pick? All right? There are some people who have been told by the National Land Commission, we need to compensate you. We need this land. Because when we do viability study, this is the most, prime land where we can develop a factory, for example. I have some people in Kericho somewhere, all right, who are told, now you need to move from this point. We are going to compensate you because after carrying out a feasibility study, we have discovered this is the prime place where we can set up a factory that is going to employ more than 600 people. Do you know what they did? They went to court again to block it. So that is why I'm saying this. We need to balance those two, whereas we need to check the government of the day and we need to check it against excesses. We must also be alive to the fact that we need a country that is progressive. We cannot be going to court almost on everything.
I'm surprised he's a lawyer, because he would be the one who is telling you that.
No. As I finish.
You cannot
and some of these things. No. I do not say.
And
I
the
do not want
judges
to
have
make
the right to.
Nick, let me tell you something. Even when you were abducted, do you know? I myself, together with my colleagues, we went to court. You may not have seen me, But when it comes to matters of human rights and
you.
upholding the constitution, I was there. For the longest time, maybe because I come from the region where the president comes from, people assume that I automatically support the government. That is not the case. When the 10 young men were abducted, I am actually the one who filed an habeas corpus application at the High Court of Kenya to release those boys. I was with your colleague, Mr. Okia Omtata.
And thank you for
all
that.
right?
And thank you
So
for that.
I'm not criminalizing going to court. I'm a practitioner of court. I'm a practitioner of law. I go to court every single morning. I see things that are happening. We have participated in this country.
But why would you give a statement saying that going to court is blocking something? Because
No. That's what I'm saying. I need to clarify something. I need to clarify.
Just want to interject.
Okay, let's do this.
Crime. It is not a crime because it is not a crime. Let me finish. Only 1 minute. I'm not saying going to court is a crime, but going to court on every single thing, including small things that sometimes you do not need. These are things that we can just do. Deal with through public participation. You call people of that area, you tell them how much do you think is the value of the land that we want to acquire. They say, okay, fine, for 1 acre it is 1 million. Does the government has 1 million? We are giving it 1.2. And we compensate those people and they relinquish the land and we set up a factory, for example, to the benefit of the same people. That is what I'm talking about. But now going to court wholesomely, generally.
In fact, Wakili, the biggest problem I have with this,
I have an issue with that.
So-called human rights, because I don't believe it. Yes, the problem I have with you people, I know they even have units within their organizations that are set for not any other purpose, but to challenge every legal registration by government. It does not matter whether it is in helping public or not. Theirs it is to challenge it and create channels and avenues to earn money.
I want to ask.
I am. Allow me to. I am saying this, and I want you to go to. I want you to go to court. 2014, the landmark judgment by Justice Odunga on public participation. You will go and see. I am one of the 6 people who filed.
Yeah.
When the county government of Kiambu were passing laws without having a proper public participation bill. So I am speaking from someone who understands what is known as public participation. Today, I have just told you that we have passed a controlled development through the 3 houses of county assemblies. Before going to the county assemblies, we went to the entire community, speaking to them. The ranchers, you know that area has a lot of ranchers, speaking to them, Mariri and all those things. And therefore, that is where I want to vehemently deny that there is no public participation. What there is not, it is a public participation in their own design. That is outside the statutes of law.
But we go to
because you see, let me tell you, going to court must never be looked at just an achievement. It is the achievement of going to court. It is getting a landmark ruling that favors what you say. But let's look at most of the things you people have challenged. When they go to the next higher court, they end up being, for instance, the other day.
Are you saying that the High Court?
No, I'm not saying. I am only responsible for what I am saying. How you interpret it, that is entirely your business, my brother. So how you interpret it is entirely your business. I am only responsible for what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I am saying is this. I have a problem with the so-called human rights activists. What do you call them? The civil society. Absolutely. Because you cannot be. I mean, they have really taken every piece of registration by government through court system. Absolutely. You want to tell us that you are all through right and the rest of the people are wrong. It does not work that way. The problem with the civil society, and I say this without fear of contradiction whatsoever, the only drive that takes them to the court, it is to create funding avenues. Absolutely. Because the moment they go and they file, and by the way, filing a court is not expensive. Wakili will tell you. Absolutely. But the moment they file, they start fundraising for the same, and that's what they do. They are not doing it for the good of the country, because if they are good, they are doing it for the good of this nation. We would look at how late Kenya is to develop, how Kenya is ready to move forward, and we should not create unnecessary handles. For instance, if you are going to quote on the infrastructure act, which because it's no longer a bill, it is now an act. If you are going there, you are going to quote to say what? There was no public participation when the evidence is out there. There is a problem. You are anticipating that that thieves will be appointed into that fund. We cannot behave like we are immoral. You are immortal beings that you know what will happen 10 years to come.
Okay, Bishedu, thank you for your submission. Nicholas,
I have a right to respond to some of these things.
Just in a minute, so that now we can move to something else.
I think first of all, the civil society in this country is very respectable.
Yes,
one of the MPs who is working very well is from civil society, Okia Omtata. I don't have any questions with the way he does his job, and he's from civil society. And Okia Omtata has changed a lot of laws in this country just by himself. The civil society has changed a lot of laws in this country. Look at the laws of this country. You'll find a lot of laws. Maina Kiai, what have you? What is he saying? He's saying that we should go and wait and everything happens in this country. No, we cannot have that. Going to court is accountability. It is questions that are lingering, and people go to ask those questions in court, and he knows that.
Absolutely.
So when we go to court to make sure that this thing is done well, and he knows this thing. He even said he's going to court, even him. Why did you go to court then if you felt that going to court is a problem?
I don't want you to respond, please.
But I don't go to court anyhow. That's the problem. Going to court is not a problem. Misusing our justice system is what I have an issue.
Absolutely.
So I think now we need to move to something else because okay. So this week also, we, of course, it was just the aftermath of the floods that happened the other day. I can just also give you an opportunity to say one or two things around the floods. What do you think is the biggest problem with our city? Like you had mentioned, and actually you said that you are laying a good foundation for the Konza city, which is quite important. So now that there was a failure, we never anticipated that Nairobi will have this kind of capacity, will carry this kind of capacity in terms of people residing in Nairobi or using the facilities in Nairobi. So what do you think will be the next solution for this?
I think the solutions that are needed in Nairobi, some of them we may not, some of the people listening to me may not like them, but there seems to be that some of these big things, structures we see may need to go. Because I was prepping through history and I saw a small report by a former colonial governor of Kenya called Sir Evering Bare, lighting a report from here to his government in the UK.
To Winston Churchill.
Yes. And he declared Nairobi as a swamp. Those so many years before we got an independent. So in short, Nairobi is built in a swamp. As if that is enough, we have also now decided to give the drainage system of Nairobi a road it cannot carry. It can't. I am telling you, I think, and this is my observation, because looking at a city in Korea, South Korea, Seoul, there is a city next to Seoul called Yaoundé. Yaoundé is where the administrative capital of South Korea sits. Why they did that? Because everybody is crazy about coming to the city where it is the financial capital, it is the administrative capital. So everybody is fighting for a piece of Nairobi. And in the process, we are heading up getting messes right, left, and center. Look at Kirireshwa here. Look at Hurlingham. Look at those places. They were never. I have seen a friend of mine moving out because on this side there is a 20-story building. On this side there is another one. On this side. So you are literally, without taking a gun, we are forcing people outside the city by what we are doing. So what I think, my own opinion is that we may need to look at everybody who has constructed in the normal pathways of floods, because that is one of the biggest problem we have encountered. I don't want to get into the politics of Nairobi because they are messy, but even if you look at the places where the water messed, the biggest in the city last week, you realize that if you look at the world regulations on how far we are supposed to stay outside rivers and pathways of water. We have encroached on the waterways in this city, and that is a fact. So that is something that needs to be looked at. Number two, we may need to think in future to move the administrative capital from Nairobi, so that we can discourage people from clogging and fighting for the small spaces in the city, and we end up with a mess. Because today, if you move the administrative capital outside the city, you will force people to go to where the administrative capital is going to be, and in that way you will release the pressure. But there is one thing I will say might be unpopular. When you look at the amount of money given to counties, specifically the county government of Nairobi, there is no way anybody in his right mind will wake up, go to the TV and fight the government of Nairobi County on the issues of flooding in Nairobi. It is a perennial problem that has to be undertaken with the cooperation between the national government and the county government. Because look at the county, the finance architecture of our counties. Our counties are not independent to go and look for concessions and all everything today, including Konza, where we are building a city. We have to go back to Treasury to get concurrencies, to go and look for external loans, external funding, concessions, and all those things. And therefore, that limits the county government of Nairobi from thoroughly dealing with these issues. The only issue they can never run away from, and that one I will accuse them during the day and during the night, it is the authorization of these constructions, because that is within their mandate to give licenses. Who gives licenses to people to build in riparian lands?
Absolutely.
Who is giving people licenses to build more stories than they should, depending on the geo-surveys of these lands? That is the work of Nairobi County, and that squarely, that blame is on them for doing what they must do. But nonetheless, I pity with the current county government of Nairobi, because they are dealing with a problem that started way before counties came to be.
Okay.
So I think
that
the national government should take lead on designing Nairobi to deal with these issues.
Okay, let's hear from Wakili.
Absolutely. I want to also say that a lot of what has been said by my colleague Mushendo is actually true. I think where we started, things don't go wrong. They say things don't go wrong, they start wrong.
Yes.
So we started on a wrong footing. If the report by 1960s, because I think Sir Evelyn Baring was the governor in I think 1950 something. If by 1950 something, Winston Churchill had a report saying that Nairobi is a riparian land, or it sits on a swampy area, then indeed we are fighting a problem which is almost 100 years old. All right, and therefore my recommendation to that would be quite straightforward. We have a department in the county government called the Department of Planning. This is the department which is responsible for planning the entire city. For example, if you want to construct a building today in Kilimani, you have to get approvals. How many floors do you have to construct? And we have you must show the county planning committee how you are going to deal with issues of drainage. For example, how are you going to, have you constructed in a road reserve, have you constructed in, you have to clarify exactly how your architecture of the building is sustainable in that sense. But unfortunately, we also have corrupt officials within the county government. People will issue approvals. They will just give you approvals because you have you have given out something. And these are issues that are alive and they are very real. You go there, people are on business, and that is why you see almost everywhere we are having buildings. Another one collapsed recently in South Sea there.
Yes.
All right. So because the approvals, I'm told the approval was supposed to be only 13 floors, but he paid something and then approvals were extended beyond 13 floors. So these are issues that are not only generational, but they are also systemic, in the sense that we need to look at ways in which we'll reduce corruption at the city hall. And one of those is by collaborations with the national government, because when you have two people dealing with one issue, it becomes more transparent, more accountable, and therefore we will be able to deal with that problem. Secondly, we also have I would prefer working with experts. I'm not an expert in designs and all these things, but what prevents the county government of Nairobi from hiring a very serious expert like even Mushendu and the engineers that are working for Konza City to come and and clog those issues, to reroute, to do. I believe there must be a way. If you bring an expert to work on Nairobi City and these issues of flooding, I'm very sure he will find out a way. Because again, this is not an emergency, and I like what Dr. Oburu Odinga said, that the issue of flood is not an emergency. It is something that is perennial. Even next year, we are expecting the same thing. So why can't we sit down today, knowing that next year we have floods, we set up a fund for it, we collaborate with the national government, we bring in experts from wherever, from Seoul, where Mushendu has said, so that we have experts planning for us, and stop blaming everything on government and maybe Sakaja. Sakaja is almost my age mate, all right? I'm sure he was born when the city was also flooding. Clearly, 3 years down the line, you cannot expect him to solve. The same case goes for William Ruto. This is a very, very old problem. So I think what my take on this is that let us work with experts. Let us also decentralize national, the national capital city. For example, in Nigeria, we used to have Lagos, which was congested. We have around 50 million. By 1963, actually, in Lagos, we had 50 million people strong. In Lagos alone. So the government of the Federation Republic of Nigeria decided that let us have an administrative city and also the commercial city, just like what they did also in South Africa. So countries that are more progressive, and I believe Kenya is also one of them, should now start thinking of having Nairobi as either administrative or commercial, and then we have another city also altogether, so that we avoid a situation where everyone is coming to Nairobi. I wake up if you are living in Muthaiga, if you are living in Machakos, all of us want to come to the city. But if you go to other cities, for example in Pretoria, people wake up in the morning to go to Johannesburg, Cape Town. All right. So Kenya, we have reached that level. We can no longer compare ourselves to maybe countries like Uganda or Tanzania. We are bigger than that. We have almost 10 million people in this city alone. So we need to decentralize the city in such a manner that we can even have Thika, all right, or the outskirts of Thika, Konza City, Tatu City, being the administrative hubs, so that we leave now Nairobi decongested a bit. That will be my take.
That's a good view, yeah?
Absolutely.
I want to agree with what both my colleagues have said. There is a lot of corruption in Nairobi. And if you want to know where I live in Eastlands, Buruburu, those areas of Jericho, those areas, there was no floods there. These were estates that were designed by experts. These were estates that were designed knowing that people will continue growing.
Yeah.
You look at countries like, for instance, Mexico City, for instance, that there was a time that the number was less, but then it grew very rapidly. The moment you have cities like that, that happens. And I agree with what my colleague is saying, that we must think of moving this city in a way, one way or the other. We had hoped that devolution was going to help, but I think some of us have realized that people work in their devolved units. They have families in Nairobi. And on Thursday, look at Friday. When you go to Friday, you'll find nobody at work. Everybody runs back home. So there's a problem here, because it was like you should go to where now your job is. But apparently that is something that has not happened. I hope there could be something powerful, like saying that for you to work here, your family must be here in these counties, so that people begin to start understanding that they can move there. The other issue is, like they are saying, is I think if you look at South Africa, there are several cities that are doing different things. The capital, I think Pretoria is something else. I think it's Senate or something. Yeah. So even Kenya, we have to start thinking that way. We have to start asking ourselves, why would every ministry, and somebody asked that question sometime, why is the Ministry of Agriculture in Nairobi? What are they doing here? What are they digging in this town? You get the point, eh? So there is a question that must be asked, that government must move out of town. And some of these things must find ways elsewhere.
It's
going to be a very bold outcome to do that, but
that's a long-term solution. Now, what is the short term? Because now the rains are still here with us. What is the short-term solution? Because we have lost people, we've lost property, we've lost a lot. So what is the short term?
The short term is people must move to safer places.
Absolutely.
Because that's the short.
And where
you see when the road constructions anywhere in Kenya have stopped because you cannot construct with rains. So short term is that you need to please take your properties to a place where they will not be taken by water. Move to a safer place because that is the only thing. There is no shorter term solution of constructing a waterway.
I think there is a lot of corruption because a friend of mine was saying that they're in the 10th floor in some place in town and it flooded on the 10th floor because they're in the roof. Now
it's okay.
There's a lot of problems in construction in Nairobi.
So we are heading to the top of the hour so that now we can have 1 hour remaining to finish up our conversations. So right now we are waiting for the top of the hour, and this is the Generation Report right here on Radio Generation. And this is a show that breaks down the big stories that happened in the course of the week, and that is basically what you're hearing here with my analysts here. We are looking and breaking these stories down so that now we can give them a different perspective. So do not go far. We will be right back.
It's 9 o'clock.
I didn't get your name.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This week, power was tested in the corridors of leadership, economies shook under pressure, and the voices of ordinary citizens demanded to be heard. From breaking decisions in high office to protests in the streets, from moments of triumph to tragedies that stopped us in our tracks, these are the headlines that shaped our week. And beyond the noise, we search for what really matters, the connections, the context, the stories behind the stories. Introducing Triciah, and this is your weekly news roundup on Radio Generation, where every headline has a heartbeat and every moment counts.
And yes, we are right back with this conversation. Like you can hear, it's quite interesting right inside here. And we've got a lot of insights from the analysts that are already in the studio. We have Nicholas Oyo. Remember, he was, will I say kidnapped? You were put in the fridge.
You were abducted.
You were put in the fridge.
You were abducted by Kenya government and Uganda government. We are very clear on that.
Okay. So that is you. Okay, that is you, because I remember the Ugandan president coming out and saying that yes, I put them in the fridge. That's what he told us, and then Kenyans were like they thought it is the literal the fridge itself. Yeah, but of course I know it was not easy
for Kenyans for fighting for us.
Yes,
even my colleagues here fought for us.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we also have Mushendu here, who is one of the directors at the Konza Technopolis.
Yes.
Yeah, and he said that actually I think that is where Singapore will start.
No, Singapore has already started.
According to how you've explained it.
Yes.
Singapore is starting at Konza Technopolis.
You know, I told your colleagues in the morning show, and I will still repeat this. I am more than glad to facilitate a visit to Konza. It is my joy to see them reporting on what they see with their own eyes. And you know, there is a lot of strength and a lot of trust in what you see than what is reported to you.
We also have one Philip Langat, ni wakili pia. Wakili, kuna hii story ya IEBC.
Yes.
Is it mambo na boundaries and whatever towards 2027?
Absolutely.
How about it?
Yeah, if you have been following that story, it's actually me. I am the petitioner.
Yes, I saw. Yeah,
it's Philip Langat versus IEBC and others, and that case is still active in court. In fact, I will not want to discuss it. in detail, because again that would amount to what we call in law sub judice. We do not like to discuss matters that are actively in court.
Sure.
But just to lay the basis of what we were doing in court is that we, for one, we know that there is the boundaries review. The boundaries review has to happen all 6 to 8 years, every after 6 to 8 years.
Yes.
All right, and that is a constitutional provision that after 6 years we need to do a boundary review. We need to do what we call take stock of our population and see whether the constituencies that we have are still functional or dysfunctional. For example, I'll give an example of my own constituency. For example, Bureti constituency, which has exceeded the population quota that is required for a constituency. There is a quota that is required for a geographical place to be called a constituency.
Yeah.
But my own constituency has actually exceeded. And those are the challenges that we are facing. So that if you, for example, have a CDF, if you are disbursing 100 million, for example, to a constituency like Bureti, it will not be similar to a constituency like Dujis or what is now called Garissa town constituency. Because 100 million in Dujis can do a lot more than what it can do in Bureti constituency. Considering that in Bureti, for example, we have a vast population of people. So indeed the IBC have responded to our petition. They have said that of course we only have constitutionally mandated 290 constituencies, and it will be very hard for us to change that. But they are only saying that because they have not carried out the delimitation of boundaries and the review of the boundaries.
Yes.
But they have also told the court that we are on course to do the delimitation and review of the boundaries, but it shall be done piecemeal. It cannot be done at one go. It has to be done in phases, piecemeal, one step at a time. So we are happy with that. There is a progress because we have started the conversation. The conversation is now in court, and IBC, I think, in as much as they have the capacity in terms of the committee that was newly brought into place, they also have challenges with finances, which they have clearly laid out that we will need an additional millions of money to carry out that exercise. But this is an exercise that I'm very happy to be part of. This is a discourse. A conversation that all Kenyans must get into, because we are talking about dynamics that are changing in our country. For example, in 2009, when we carried out, I think, the last census, the population of this country was we are talking about 40 million people. Right now, we are doing 60 million people.
Yeah.
There are what we call community ties. If you look at people from Kuria, for example, they had started clamoring for independence, for lack of a better word. They feel that them being lumped together with Kisis and Luos is a bit discriminatory on their side. So they wanted a constituency on their own, and they got it. I think they have Kuria East and Kuria West. But they have also pushed it to the extent that they now want a county of their own. And I cannot blame them, because that is what we call communal ties. Some of these people, like the Maasais, all right, the Maasais have regrouped themselves together and they have said we need Kajiado County and we have a Narok County. The Kalenjin is also on the other side. So there are so many dynamics that are taking place, but the most important one is the population. There is population is growing.
Yeah.
In a geometric sequence. It is not growing like 1, 2, 3, 4. It is growing from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. You
can't predict.
People are expanding the population, and therefore we need to delimit our boundaries and see whether we will sustain the 290 constituencies, and if so, should we add? And if we are not able to sustain, can we remove them? So what I can say to this forum is that we have a discussion that is ongoing, and the beauty about it is that we already are in court for the same. We are discussing in court now, and we don't know what IBC are going to say, but the thing is they have a constitutional mandate to review the boundaries and to carry out delimitation of the boundaries afresh.
So that means we need to get back to the census.
Absolutely. We normally do census, I think. When is the next? We did in 2019.
The next one is in 3 years.
In 3 years. So, but the constitution say before you go to the general election, 1 year too, you must carry out the delimitation of boundaries and review. let me give a very few a small example before we move on to the next panelists. In my county, for example, Kericho County, it used to be called the Kericho Municipal. It is now defunct municipal. What was it? Town Municipal. Mm-hmm. There is a place in Moroni where the county government of Kericho used to collect revenue from. But recently when Anyang' Nyong'o became the governor for Kisumu, he took over that place and said this place belongs to Kisumu. Moroni, I think Nick might know. Yeah. There kuna viwanda pale who are now giving wanapatiana rates to ushuru to Kisumu County. But previously, if you look at the historical records, it used to be a property of Kericho County. If you go to the boundary between Nyamira County and Kericho County, we had a river that used to separate the two counties. But today, Nyamira has also encroached to the other side of Kericho County. Even here between Kajiado and Machakos, there is a border dispute that I remember Mr. Alfred Mutua was trying to deal with the then governor for Kajiado.
Yes.
So we have issues.
Not even Kajiado, even Makueni County. I remember with Taita Taveta County. Yes. There are so many issues at the boundaries. And these are real issues that are affecting the daily lives of Kenyans. All right. For example, issues to do with taxes and where we are supposed to remit them, whether it is this county or the other, is a real issue. It is an alive issue which has to be dealt with. So we are calling upon the IBC to do their mandate, which they are constitutionally allowed to do. And what we were actually calling for is urgency. All right, because there has been laxity on the side of the IEBC in terms of dealing with some of these issues. So, but we believe that going forward, they have to do those things, and this is a very, very paramount exercise that has to be carried out. So this one is targeted before 2027?
Absolutely, and I do not know what they are going to do, because they said they don't have the funding. The only funding that they have is for carrying out by-elections. Yes. You remember we had, I think, 19...
asking for more money.
They are even asking for more money, because we had almost 19 by-elections, I don't know, and very many 23. For MC23 actually. So they only said we had the budget for by-elections, and then for the voter clean up of the voter registry, and then also registration again afresh of the Gen Zs, because Gen Zs were told go and namuchukue kura. So that is the only budget that IBC has. But as to whether they will go into delimitation and review of the boundaries is neither here nor there. It's a question that is before the courts.
Okay, so I don't know whether there's something you need to add around that.
I just want to say that we are looking at it, and if you look at a country like China, for instance, you look at the US, you look at even UK, you won't find situations of delimiting boundaries.
Yes.
Because what happens, US has had 100 senators all through its life as 300 and something years. And those are things that we must ask ourselves as Kenyans, because there is a point that we lose a lot of not just resources, we even lose friendlyhoods, we lose, there is a lot of blood that is done, there's a lot of fights going on in those boundaries and constituencies and what have you. And if you start giving counties to Kuria, wait a minute, you will see 43 other groups that are saying we don't want to be in this county, we want our county. So what we are saying is this: we must reach a point to look at this constitution. This constitution, and I want to make people understand that a constitution is a live document, is a living document. You can even pass a constitution today and tomorrow you need to do changes. Absolutely. The US constitution was changed in 2 years. After 2 years they passed the constitution, they had to change it. There was no Bill of Rights. So a lot of those changes, I think about 12 of them, happened because of Bill of Rights. So you find that we are looking at some of those things and we are saying, do we really need constituencies in this country? Because if it is members of parliament, they have roles. It is oversight, representation, and legislation. And that task does not need you to come from a certain area to come and say, we can actually have a situation where we elect them from the counties and they go into the national, into parliament. and we elect from the constituencies, they go to county assemblies. That is what we are proposing us, because we are saying these issues are going to cause us problems in this country. We are going to always have fights every time. We are going to lose resources. We are losing a lot of resources as a country because we do a lot of these things that are things that we can actually do once perpetually and wait for maybe another generation to again face the same, but not every other 5 years, every 5 years, every 5 years. So we are looking at those things, and I hope we'll have some discussion with him, because he has very good things I want to.
I think I for once I agree with him. We cannot go the direction of creating more administrative units. If you look at the US, there is what is called the reapportionment of the congressional districts in the US. They never change the 435. I think they are 435. 435. But what they do is that they do something called redistricting, depending on the population. Because today, congressional district number 10 of California might have a smaller population. Tomorrow, it has double the population. And therefore, the representation is reapportioned to represent the number of people each congressman or congresswoman needs to represent. And that's how they do. You see this one, it does not change states, because they remain still 150 states. But they reapportion population depending on which area has this population or that population, so that there is even distribution of resources. Even if you look at their courage vote, how they distribute it, it means that smallest state that always starts with midterm elections, the Wayua, state of Wayua, with its 2 or 3 electoral votes, has a very serious say on who becomes the president of the Republic of the United States. And therefore, I would want to look at that issue in a way we do not lose money. Because as he's saying, if today you tell Kuria they will get their county, what are you going to tell us from Kiambu, who we are about to become 1.7 million voters? What are you going to tell us? If Kuria, which has 300 or so thousand, and therefore it is a very serious issue. And I am sorry, I don't know where Wakili stands on it, but most people who are pushing for these denominations, they are not pushing because of resources.
Why?
They are pushing because of additional elective seats that comes with it. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And therefore, I do not believe 1 minute, having traversed countries like China, the Middle East and other places, India, I don't believe we have a problem with representation. That's not our problem.
Can I just clarify
if you allow me.
Okay.
Personally, from where I sit, we do not have a problem with the number of people representing us. That's not the problem. I think Kenyan's problems are 2. 1, the quality of representative that we have, and number 2, the distribution of resources. Are they evenly distributed? That's from where I sit. And therefore, I think as it is today, Kenya is by large overrepresented.
So actually, that's the reason why I wanted to ask. So are you of the opinion that we go for the 1 vote, 1 shilling? I don't know what. I
think for me, I think for me, the most important thing that we need to put keen on, it is this commission that is called the Commission on Revenue Allocation. That's what we need. Because let me tell you, whatever Wakili is doing and whatever anybody is doing, they are probably, Wakili here could be pushed by the fact when he looks at the national cake and how it is distributed, he feels Bureti is not getting the right cake. Because because today he has alluded to Garissa town. What is the population of Garissa town versus the population of Royal constituency, which is the most popular?
Absolutely, and that is why what I was saying. Those are the issues that I was saying. First, I wanted to clarify that it is not that I want to have additional electoral units so that we contest for those positions. No. This is a constitutionally mandated exercise. It is an exercise that is born out of the Constitution. And basically, we are just trying to how do I call it? Just trying to implement the constitution the way it is. The constitution says before the general elections, at least we need to do the delimitation. And that delimitation must be carried out within after every 6 to 8 years. Which right now, if you look at after I think the next delimitation of boundaries ought to have been done sometimes in 2012, 2013, but it was not carried out. And that is why we are going to go to ask, why then? Why didn't you not do it? So it is not an issue of saying, I want more constituencies. No. Actually, we are satisfied with the 290 that are there in the constitution. That is fair enough. What we are saying is that, can you just do, because delimitation and boundaries review is not additional only of the constitution.
It can also be a reduction.
It can also be a reduction.
Yes.
Because, for example, I said Garissa town, because it is very small and the population is small, we can merge the two with maybe another constituency, nearby constituency in Garissa town, and have it as one. I also spoke to the issues of boundary disputes, which are very prevalent in my county. For example, in Kericho, we are having a big boundary dispute in Sondu area, Paponditi area, all the way to Moroni. There is even a 400-acre farm, coffee farm, that is being disputed between Anyang' Nyong'o and my current Governor Mutai. So if IBC can come in and clarify who is this, who is the owner of this, that is what we want. We not necessarily want to have additional.
Yeah.
Because it entails a lot. The delimitation and boundary review entails a lot. Even in Bomet, for example,
yes,
Kewasco, that is Kericho Water and Sanitation Company, is paying to Bomet for their water, because Bomet says we are actually the source of this river that is coming to your place. So we must tax you. Yes. So those are the disputes where, because just it is actually this river, actually the source is in the boundary. So you wonder which way this river, does it belong to Bomet County or Kericho County? So it is a whole issues. We have to look at it holistically and not necessarily additional. So those are the clarifications that I want to make. I want to make.
Okay, I think that is fair enough for that topic. So now we can just head to something else. So this week on Tuesday, the 10 points agenda report was released, and of course it has received equally opposing and even supporting voices in the country so far. So I just want to hear your submissions, because we all know how we ended up to that moment. I mean, how we ended up to the 10 points agenda. And one of the questions, as you just give your submissions, one of the key questions that I keep on asking myself, and actually even before when they were working on the NADCO report, I remember that time, immediately after the 2022 elections, the disputed elections, and then now people went to the streets, and then now the end point was the NADCO report. Now, again, after the Gen Z's protest, we ended up with the 10 points agenda. And most of those times, of course, the opposition leader, most of the time had to shake hands with the president. Absolutely. So again, even this one. So the report was given. I want to look at the few things that they said they have addressed or they've implemented so far. I'll be reading for you, but before that, I can just we can just start giving the submissions.
Yeah, for me, that's a very pertinent question, Triciah. The issue of the NADCO report and what the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga and William Ruto did is basically managing politics of expectations. After every electioneering cycle, we have the winner and the person who has not won. I don't want to use the word loser. But what Raila was advocating for, and which the president has embraced, is that we need to have now a framework where both parties can work together, so that we eliminate this winner takes it all mentality. In other jurisdictions like Nigeria, they have rotational presidency, where, for example, you had right now we have Tinubu, who is, I think, from the south, which is Christian, predominantly Christian, and I think the next president in Nigeria is going to come from the north, which is predominantly Islamic. So in Kenya, we don't have such an arrangement, but what we have now, we have seen seasons of handshakes. coalitions, cooperations, and now this one, what we have is this one between Raila and
The 10 point.
the
10 point.
Yeah, what was the name of this handshake for Raila and
The NADCO.
what
I
was
mean
it?
the report.
He's talking about the formation of government between.
This Raila, it was the handshake between Uhuru and Raila.
And Yes. Raila.
What is this? This between Ruto and Raila. What is it? What do they call it?
Broad-based.
Thank you.
Okay.
that's the word
that's
I
what
was
you're
looking
looking
for. So in Kenya, I think without us knowing, slowly we are sinking into such agreements where, unlike in Nigeria, where we have rotational presidency, we have also carved out our own identity where the winner shakes hands with the loser, and we have a general government. I think it's a good thing if you ask me. I think so far the NADCO report is addressing those issues. The 10-point agenda now, which is a product of the NADCO report, is a good. If you look at those 10 points, they are very good in my own estimation. We have inclusivity in government. We have accountability. They also talked about implementation. In fact, one of the first point of the what do we call
of the 10-point agenda was the NADCO report.
Yes, the NADCO report.
Yes.
Implementation of the NADCO report.
Sure.
And then we also have, I think, inclusivity in government, where all tribes must be in government. And then we also have issues like integrity, leadership and integrity.
Yes.
So that we reduce this. And then wastage also, we also had to cut back on wastage. And also we have what we call
Reductions, where are you running away from that?
Other than that, there is one which is coming to my mind. The issue of strengthening devolution.
Yeah,
I want to dwell on that. I want to dwell on that issue of strengthening devolution because I aspire to become a devolution expert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, devolution in this country is very sketchy. You actually think that we have devolved units, but the reality on the ground is quite different. Because I can tell you for sure, even the way recurrent expenditure is being paid in the counties, they also have to look back to the national government. And sometimes when the national government has not authorized the money to be released, the employees at the county level have to bear with that. So they might even stay 2 to 3 months without salaries. So devolution, it looks good on paper. It looks as if we have decentralized power so that we have autonomous body in the shape of county governments, but the reality is different. It is not actually autonomous. It is semi-autonomous.
Okay.
So, but I like what the president did recently because he signed an act which sought to increase the 15% that was supposed to be devolved to the counties to, I think, 26, so that we have more funding going to the county government. I think that is one of the agendas of the 10-point agenda,
yes.
Strengthening devolution.
Actually, I can read for you the report,
No problem.
what they gave out, because it is what I have is actually in summary. So the first one was the implementation of the NADCO report. That one we are in agreement. And this is what they said, that Parliament received 9 reform bills to improve elections, governance and democracy in the country. They say that 3 laws already passed, others still being discussed. They say that new IEBC commissioners were appointed in 2025 and voter registration has started. That one is okay. Yeah, plans underway to review electoral boundaries. That is what we've been talking about. Proposals include creating offices like leader of official opposition and the prime cabinet secretary. Don't we have that?
Absolutely, Triciah. It is all about inclusivity.
I want you to read everything,
Okay,
so that
proceed.
now you can. No, the second one was inclusivity in public life, where the government said that they've launched a policy to support marginalized communities. Yeah, they have. That policy runs between 2025 to 2035. Then they talked of scholarships worth 500,000, fertilizers, education. I mean, equalization fund increased from 5 billion to 9.6 billion shillings. Then health, of course, expanded to 29.9 million people under the SHA. Then kuna walimu waliandikwa kazi, and then there is also the affordable houses. So that's what they said. They reported on the inclusivity. Then there was strengthening of devolution. County governments received more money from national government. That's what they said. Allocation increased from 385 billion shillings to 415 billion shillings. Then counties now receive funds on time every month. County assemblies given financial independence. Ilisikia pia MCA wakiambiwa watakuwa wanapata pesa yao. Yeah, they don't have to depend on the governors. Then another point they said is supporting young people. Still in the 10-point agenda. They said Nyota program helping 820. We all know about the Nyota program. And then they talked about training, mentorship and all that. They talked about the young people employed in the housing projects and also those who have been taken kwenye kazi majuu. Government said they sent 547,000 Kenyans to work abroad through the kazi majuu initiative. And then there's also other programs there. So according to them, looking at this, the figures right here, they are talking about around 1.3 young people have been employed through the government. That's according to that. Then there's now the leadership and integrity. Well, they said that new Conflict of Interest Act 2025 introduced.
Absolutely.
Yes, it stops public officials from using their positions for personal benefit. Then, then there is another one here. It's about this one, about a right to protest. And that is where now young people lost their lives.
Absolutely.
So they said that 2 billion shillings have been set aside to compensate victims of protest. And so far I had the Kenya National Human Rights Commission talking about they've given Kenyans a period of, is it 60 days? 60 days for them, those who need to be compensated, to bring in their claims, to report. Then IPOA investigated 820 cases of police misconduct. And then there was some officers who were convicted and disciplined. I think that is what the young people have really wanted to know. Who is this? And then there is now the government withdrew a bill that would restrict protests. When wakili utakuwa unatuambia ni gani hiyo, if it is true ama namna gani. Then now there was the managing of the national debt. The national debt is quite a problem in our country. Kenyans have been saying they want to know how much the country deni ya inchi ni ngapi. And so far we know it's around 12 trillion. So this is what they are saying, that government started a forensic audit of Kenya's public debt. Who borrowed? Can we feel it in the economy of the country?
Absolutely.
Then now reduced reliance on borrowing and explored new financing options. We are talking of the PPP, And then there is also the Eurobond buybacks done to reduce repayment pressure, and then a credit rating improved in 2026. That's what the government is saying. And then created a national infrastructure fund to finance projects. That one ndio tulianza nayo. And then now fighting corruption. Number 8. More government services moved online on e-Citizen. 23,000 services. I don't know whether, do you think that is going to be a solution to corruption? And then the new anti-money laundering law passed. And then ESCC inasema kwamba 143 asset recovery cases worth 22.9 billion. Then 9.8 billion recovered. 86 corruption convictions done. That is between March, was it March? March 2025 to date. To date. That is when the 10-point agenda was drafted, was done. And then there is number 9, the reducing of government waste. They are saying that the government cut spending through austerity measures. Then budgets for spouses of top leaders removed. Actually, I remember immediately, the second day after this, the controller of budget, Margaret, they gave out a report showing that the office of the deputy president spent how much. But then yesterday, they clarified. They said that office was scrapped off. So there was no way that hiyo pesa ingetumika. And then there was the freezing on buying new government vehicles for 1 year, introduction of zero-based budgeting, so all spending must be justified. Then now the last one, protecting the rule of law. More judges and magistrates recruited to reduce court backlog. New court of appeal benches opened in Nakuru, Mombasa and Eldoret. E-filing system introduced, and then mobile courts launched and whatever. So back now to you.
Yes.
I want to start with the last one.
No. Before you start, actually, so you address that question that I've always heard about. When people were sitting down to talk about the NADCO report, mwananchi yule wa chini alikuwa kwa hii hesabu? Hiyo ni swali tu nitakuwa nimewauliza, so now so wacha tuanze na huko.
I'll start by saying that it is a good attempt and it is a good progress that a lot of these things are now coming out. It's a discussion that we're going to have in this country. But the NADCO, talk about the 10 points agenda, because the NADCO is now one of the 10 points agenda. We look at this country and you look at the last point that we have there, protecting the law. That is not supposed to be a government, quote unquote. This is supposed to be a judiciary issue, and it is the judiciary that should have given us that report, protecting the law, because that report belongs to the judiciary. We talk about separation of power, and if you talk as the executive, you are talking for someone else. That is not your task. So one of the things we are saying in this country is that separation of powers is very important, and we have lost that seriously, especially if you look at the question of CDF. It has become something that you find that MPs seem to go to parliament just because of CDF, nothing else. And I think even governors facing problems with their county assemblies, and even now the president had to pass, there's a law that is passed to try and entrench CDF in the constitution. So what we are saying is this: we are inviting Kenyans as Free Kenya to basically develop their own, not this 10 points agenda, but to develop their own new ways to do these things, which is about the referendum you're talking about. Because some of these things are going to end up at a referendum, and we don't want to have a referendum that is done by the person who should wait and let us do the referendum as the directors, then we give you the work to do. You get the point? So we have a situation where the government participates in the referendum itself. You know what will happen. You'll have a situation where they are supporting something because of their own issue, but not for the issues of Kenyans. For instance, if you tell me about the Prime Cabinet Secretary, what does that help Kenyans with? Not much. I mean, a lot of Kenyans, if you ask them, if you went out here and you ask them, do you think the Prime Cabinet Secretary is important? They'll tell you no, not necessary. You get the point? Spending in government. You heard about the issue about State House having spent halfway through the year, spent all the money that was supposed to be for 1 year. So when somebody talks about reducing spending, what does it mean? What are we talking of? The same world in this country? So the reality of this is that we are taking this report, we are going to put it together with our team, and we are going to assess it and give a very clear response to this report. That is one of the things we are doing.
Okay. So before we get to you, Mushendu, there is someone on the line. Yeah, we have somebody who wants to also give their contribution all the way from Mombasa. I hope, Hedwin, you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, please.
Very loud and clear.
Please give us your submission before we get to the other panelists.
Okay, I'll take less than 5 minutes because I know you have some other guests in the studio and they are supposed to be given much time to deliberate on this issue.
Go on.
My point one, the NADCO report was politically, it was not for the service of the common citizen, because the main agenda whereby they put a lot of their resources and the concentration was the creation of the office of the Prime Minister and the chief, the position or the office of the chief official opposition leader in the National Assembly, whereby they wanted to do away with the minority leader and the majority leader so that the official opposition leader can take that position. So it tells you that it was not about Shamir or Triciah or someone else in Nyanyuki, but it was about between the two people. Secondly, when we are talking about the implementation of NADCO report, I don't know why they are again saying that we need like another 3 months for us to be able to implement these things. And I want to be very clear that you cannot postpone injustice. when people are demanding for justice, you cannot tell them that right now we cannot give you justice, but allow us to postpone it so that we can give it to you in July. You cannot do that. Any democratic country, you cannot do that. And it clearly tells you that the leaders led by William Ruto, I don't know, it's called broad-based. Their main intention is not to implement whatever the citizens want, but their main intention to ensure that Ruto does anything which is going to favor the people he wants. Is very desperately looking so that those people can, in the next year, they can vote for him, they can support him. When you look at the justice, the social justice, and in defending the Constitution of Kenya, which their report is talking about, right now, people are still being abducted. We have seen what have happened to Raphael Tuju when we wake up today. We have seen what has happened to the chairman of Nairobi Hospital right now as we speak. We have seen what happened last week through the Linda Mwananchi, through the Gachagwa's rallies, and they are saying that these are the people the opposition are using sympathy to gain political mileage. If today that is the case, then we are ready to see someone throwing tear gas where Ruto is conducting his rally. If indeed that the citizens are the one carrying the tear gas, then this government should clearly tell Kenyans, where is that shop where the tear gas is being manufactured in Kitengela? Where is that shop in Kakamega where the tear gas is being manufactured, so that we can go and purchase that tear gas? Because we know that the tear gas is being imported in this country. So you cannot keep on politicizing everything. We are not in that stage. Kenya is a democratic country. Kenya is the country which have the best constitution in Africa. So we cannot derail whatever we have achieved with this constitution, people to take us backwards. You have seen what happened when Ruto tried to force these people through the compensation panel, whereby he was creating the proxies officers whom is giving his own money to go and do ABCD. While Ruto knows very well that there's an office mandated to do that work. That is Kenya Commission of Human Rights. That is the office which was created constitutionally.
Kindly
so
wind
we
up.
want to
Wind
tell
up.
the president to stop playing the mind game and achieve the 10-point agenda as he agreed with Raila. He should not take advantage of the dead. Now he starts playing games with the Kenyans. No, we are not going to allow that.
Thank you.
Patricia.
Okay, thank you for your submission. That is those are your views. Thank you. Yeah. So now coming back to the studio. Yes, I can see.
I think one of the things I like about this country is that freedom of expression.
Yes.
That every Kenyan has a right to an opinion, as long as it is within the limitations that have been put therein. But I wanted to disagree with him on the issue of the preserving of the law, because we have about 3 arms that play a very key role in the matters, constitution and law. We have the National Assembly that actually creates these acts of parliament, and you know that in it's called the jurisprudence. The constitution is the most supreme, then followed by the act of parliament and the rulings that are done by our courts. They form part of our jurisprudence, and therefore, when the government talks about preserving the law, I think it is within their right, because when it comes to matters law and Wakili is here, the judiciary is the adjudicator. The people who are supposed to implement the law is the executive, because who is mandated to do development in the country it is the government of the day. There is a set discipline of law that you are supposed to follow as you are doing this, and therefore the biggest responsibility to safeguard the interest of our law lies with the implementer. And the implementer is government. And so when he says that it is not within the purview of government, I disagree, because it is the government that is doing the implementation, and therefore they are the people to safeguard the interest of the statutes of law that have been put, because everything that you have been given authority to do in our law has its limitation, and they are very well spelled. And therefore, as a person implementing that law, you have the responsibility to safeguard the interest of the law for the sake of the citizens. And when the government says in that point that they intend to preserve the law, I think they are within the right, because the judicially, normally, why do we go to court? Why are they in court? They are in court because they feel the government is overstepping their mandate. And therefore, if the person implementing the law, Wakili, would implement it to the letter, to their satisfaction, then they would have no business going to, other than the small part where I said it's a commercial wing, they would have no business going to court to say that this was not. Wakili is in court asking, why did IEBC not implement the law as inscribed? So I think, one, I just wanted to clarify that government has the biggest role to ensure that they protect the integrity of our laws. That is one. Number two, when you look at the issues of the 10-point agenda, you see, and I keep telling people, the rule and the way we manage the affairs of this country can never be separated from politics, because there is no other way provided by this constitution of making a government other than a political process that is very well elaborate in our constitution. And therefore, when you have the leader of ODM and the leader of the ruling party UDA and the Kenya Kwanza government coming together to look at the way they are going to build a posterity that goes beyond 2027, they are doing this in the spirit of the fact that the only way you can make a government or create a government in this country, it is by, through a political process that involves you going to convince Kenyans that your style of leadership is better for this country than his style of leadership. That's what we have provided. And then again, you recall people have not gone through the Political Parties Act very well, because there is a provision for what is known as the pre-election coalition agreement, and there is something else called post-election coalition agreements. And what you said is, and I agree, and one of the things why we end up people going to the street, it is we have built a system in a country called Kenya that is known as winner take it all. Because today, number two, who was number two, His Excellency Raila Odinga, who has been number two in the last 3 elections, doesn't get to go to parliament, doesn't get to be anybody in parliament. In fact, it makes no sense. He has to appoint a few people there. But fellows will not represent you better than you could represent yourself. But the political limitation in our constitution does not allow you to be part and parcel of government. The reason why subsequently you find that in Kenya we quickly, subsequently before 2007, we were quickly able to move out of election cycle and go back to parliament. It's because whoever was losing the presidency, or anybody who has ever lost the presidency, serious contenders, they are always elected members of parliament in their own constituency before Constitution 2010. So somehow they end up in the same parliament as those who won and became cabinet ministers. And that also provided them a level playing field of strategizing for the next election. But here you have an election where if you lose, Yes. You are not a member of parliament, you are not in the Senate,
completely.
you are not anything, you are completely in the street. And in fact, that's why they go to the street, because where else will they go? Because they don't have an opportunity to go to parliament. And therefore, when they talk about having the official leader of opposition in parliament, I believe is a good thing. And I say this, one of the ways I got to understand the budget of Kenya growing up, I did not understand it from government. I understood it from what was called the shadow ministers. You remember the famous shadow minister, Bill Okero?
Yes.
If people would remember. I used to follow Bill Okero to understand budgets and what have you. But they were able to do this because they were in Bunge.
Absolutely.
And Speaker Kaparo would allow them that, it was a standard practice in Bunge that he would recognize him as the shadow minister for finance. He would always get the first opportunity to critic government or critic the budget. Therefore, today I feel that is one of the things that would really bring some sort of level of playing ground, that we do not have a winner take it all. Even if you lose as a leader as a presidential contender and you become number 2, there is a provision for you to be in parliament or senate or whichever one they think, so that we can bring the country more close to the center. But the final issue, and I would want, and he has talked about it is that democracy and expression, allowing Kenyans to express themselves. But I also want to remind our young people, and I have them, they are my brothers, they are my sister. I have Gen Alpha coming up in my house.
Absolutely.
There is a limitation to every right, because the Constitution is very clear that his right ends where mine begins. I keep telling people that is one thing we keep saying, you're stopping us from shouting, you're stopping us from picketing. Do you know that it is illegal for you to picket in a street in Nairobi without prior informing the police, so that because you affect other people's business? So what I am saying is, government has all the responsibility to ensure the freedom of expression as enshrined in the Constitution is maintained, it is respected, it is honored, and it is implemented to the letter. Equally, the people whose provision of freedom gives them the right to speak, they must also adjudicate this in a manner that is supposed to respect the other person, in a manner that is supposed to respect the right of the other person.
But at the same time,
yes,
everybody has a right to life.
You see, let me tell you, everybody has a right to life.
Yes.
But do you know it is our laws that provides the police with the shoot to kill orders?
So exactly what he's saying is that it is not an absolute.
It's not an absolute. It is not an absolute, because today, let me tell you, if you break into a police station, for instance, today, what are you expecting? You know the possible results. You may find a very born again person there who will not deal with you. You may find somebody else who is mad about implementing the letter, because that's the reason we talk about the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. So what I'm saying, you have a right to life, but it is not absolute, because if you have a right to life and you go to steal as an armed robber, the police has a right to shoot to kill. Those are provisions of our Constitution. Well, what we are saying is, all the rights that are provided, they are not absolute, including the rights given to the police. And you see, this is where the problem I have, and I keep saying this, and I hope the Interior CS, my friend Kipchumba Murkomen, would hear me, and my friend Kaja, the police IG. One of the countries that has biggest demonstrations in the world, in a single day there is over 100 demonstrations happening at the corner. It is the city of Pali. The city of Police would have 100 demonstrations in a day, every day. I know he would have that history. He is in that space. What they did, the government established anti-riot police, specifically for the city of Paris. You can have 100 demonstrations going on in Paris, but you likely not hear somebody has been shot, because there is a specialized force to deal with riots and demonstration, because my friend here, we also need to differentiate between riots and demonstrations. The two are very different. So I would, I would request the Kenya Police to create a special police force that deals with riots and demonstrations, because sometimes I think we may end up using a lot of more force than we shouldn't. In a place we should not have used force, we should have. There is a video trending. I don't know whether you can remember. I have not really looked at it very well to know the actors, but there is a video trending of a lady trying to convince a crowd somewhere here in the country. A school, parents stormed into a school. They wanted to take the kids and what have you, and there was a very serious uproar with the teacher. There is a police officer there, a lady, who is seen speaking to parents for about 45 minutes, calming the parents down, calming the teachers down, and ended up sorting that issue of 100 parents and teachers and students, just 3 or 4 police officers. Because sometimes there is a situation that will call on your humanity side rather than you as the officer who is supposed to implement the law to the letter.
Absolutely.
The only way we can be able to do this is establish a special force. Know when you are dealing with demonstrators, you are dealing with people.
No, the limits. Yeah.
The limits.
Yes.
And I also think we must also seriously invest in our intelligence surveillance. In Konza, where I work, if your face appears in more than 10 cameras within Konza, outside, you become a person of interest. The AI singles you, and it takes you to the higher level of person of interest. It will now spot every place you have gone. That way, our security apparatus at Konza will know this person was authorized to go to point B. Why is he in C, in D, in F,
everywhere?
And therefore, if we put our intelligence services in this town, we can be able to pick thugs out of demonstrators and be able to. So I think that whatever the 10-point agenda is presenting to us, it is not exactly 100% on where the country should go, but it is a starting point. And I think what we must work to, and the honors of the current government, it is to earn the trust of Kenyan through the political systems. When you hear them going to quote on infrastructure fund, they are a small fraction of many Kenyans who probably don't trust the processes of this country based on history. But then again, I really ask Kenyans, this country has to move.
Absolutely.
We are already ready to develop our infrastructure. We are already ready to change our education. We are already ready to change our future of this country. We are already ready to make a safe haven for my 8-year-old daughter. So we have to move as a country.
Thank you.
And we have to support the government with its shortcoming, because there is no perfect government.
Thank you, Mushendu.
Let's support government.
Yeah, we have actually 4 minutes remaining, so let's wind up with you.
Yeah, so mine is very, I think my 2 colleagues have covered the ground quite well. A lot of what they have said is actually what was on my mind. And just to pick from where Mushendu was left, we are late to Singapore. I'm told that in 1960s, actually we used to give money to Singapore. Singapore was a forest until they got their leader who was Lee Kuan Yew, who transformed who transformed Singapore.
The city, yeah.
So if you Kenya and Singapore,
the country.
Yes, we were on the same level. But today we are late, and they are where they are. So we are actually late. On the issue of the NADCO report, I want to pick two issues only. Of course, the report is very comprehensive and it is very good. If it is implemented in the same way you've just mentioned, I will be a very happy Kenyan, and Kenya will progress. But of course, that is a matter of time. We'll wait and see how far they are going to implement it. But I just want to comment on 2 issues. Number 1, the issue of public wastage and spending in public. You see, in public offices, you see people buying very luxurious seats, kuna gazeti, China, mandazi, a lot of things. It is not bad. But can we match that with the level of performance of these individuals? That is why recently there is someone who said that we need to interrogate whether we should have people on PNP anymore. It should be an outdated thing. people being on jobs for permanent and pensionable.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense, yet the output is very wanting. Unapata mtu amekaa pale more than 30 years in one office doing the same job over and over again, and because they have security or job security, they are no longer productive.
They are not productive.
So to make these people to be productive, let us have them on contract basis. Let us have what we call performance contracting, outsourcing of services, so that if you are not performing, then you quit. We get another person to deliver. And that I'm very serious on that, because if you go to government offices, be it in county or national level, there is a level of laxity that is always hanging around in the air.
Yes.
And you wonder why are these people? Kumbe it's because people are permanent and pensionable.
Even this government parastatals
absolutely.
and those places,
so
yes.
There is a lot of wastage. People reading newspapers every day. People sitting on serious chairs. If you look at the chairs that are in the boardroom in some counties where I do not want to mention, are very serious. Yet we can just carry out in a normal table, and the order of the day will be carried out. So that is one. Secondly, I want to comment something on what the NADCO says on the compensation of the victims of the police brutality.
Yes.
Now, this is where Kenyans amuse me. First, they started by saying we want compensation. So the government came up with a task force to implement, to identify the victims and then compensate them. And then somewhere midstream, the Law Society of Kenya and Kina Nick, they went to court again. They said we don't want this compensation completely. What is it? We cannot pay someone who has been killed. So they stopped the process. They stopped that task force again. So then you wonder, what can the president do? The president tells you, I want to compensate you, kindly identify the victims. Midstream, someone goes to court and say, no, this task force must be disbanded. In fact, they even started discouraging that our former president, Faith Odhiambo. They told her, if you don't resign, that the blood of the victims is on your hand. How can you participate in a process where you are compensated? You can't compensate a dead person.
Okay, so
it is. We are involving ourselves in circus. And just to last now,
we are actually time.
I want to encourage Nick that you do continue doing what you're doing, but also take note that these are no longer the national liberation struggles days, the days of Kinasam Nujoma. Those are gone. Raila, I think, was the last general in that area. So yeah, do it, but with limitations. Yeah. Thank you so much. Be progressive. Thank you.
I don't know.
Okay,
Have a last word with me.
I think we are done. Actually, unfortunately, that's all the time that we had for today. So please just say bye tukienda nyumbani.
Okay, mimi query yangu itakuwa ingieni www.freekenya.co.ke and let's have this discussion, our own people's NADCO.
Okay.
We also go to court on things that are important, like we have petition E122 of 2023 that is talking about that issue of demonstrations.
All right.
You will look at it and you will see we are there on court.
Thank you.
To court for purposes.
Yes. I personally, I will ask Kenyans to support their government so that we can move this country to the other level. Now, atufuate pale leading a group called Jamii Mara Mashinani. We are going all over the country to tell the country what the government has done under the able leadership of PS Modoni and chairs of boards and members of directors of boards, to tell Kenyans what government is doing. So Kenyans, support your government. Let us ensure that we take this country to the next level for the sake of our children.
Thank you.
Once again, let me thank you for inviting us here. Mine is to give a shout out to the people of Bureti constituency and the entire Kericho county government in general. And I just want to tell them that we are struggling here and we are going to make Bureti constituency a better constituency, be it now or in future.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for taking your time to come and do this conversation. Thank you to the dear viewers for watching or being part of this conversation. So up to until next Saturday, please take care. Have a good night.
They go.